Hello and welcome everybody to the Ballers Across the Pond 2023 season opener here, not live from the UK. Well, we are recording this ahead of putting it on all of the various platforms. Peter, Will, we have a new season upon us. It's going to be interesting for sure. How are you boys doing? Because I think only one of our teams is in a good place right now.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Like I said, we have like a new format now, so it's going to be really interesting. We can kind of jab at each other a little bit more here, so we do have the flexibility now with the podcast. But no, it's exciting. With everything that's happening as far as college football is concerned and everything leading up to the NFL, so many new QBs in the mix as well. So this is always exciting because right now, like I think it's Rodgers is the last of the old guard now. He's the only one still in the league. So
Correct.
right now,
he is the last of the old guard.
He's the last of the old guard that's still around. So this is literally like a whole new era of QBs, offenses, defensive stars are coming in, new coaches in new positions as well. So it's exciting. I'm optimistic about my Eagles, but it's a long season, but I think it's way more exciting what's going to happen with, your two teams self-respectively, what's happening with the Colts and the Cardinals as well. So I can't wait to get into that.
Is it really exciting what's happening with the Colts?
No, I think it's something's happening there, that's for sure.
We're going to touch upon that a little bit later.
So your Colts, right, are in a great position right now. You got a great future to look forward to. Rookie quarterback with a lots of potential. Anthony Richardson, he's a Cam Newton-esque, as in like has similar type of ability. I know you've got a little situation that the Colts are dealing with right now, but you got 2-in-1 package now. The 2-in-1 package is Richardson. You can throw, you can run it. So you get a 2-in-1 package that most teams don't get when they have a young quarterback like that. So both of your teams are in great position. Now my team, I'm just go ahead and say this season is a bit of a wash kind of like year for us because new head coach, we didn't do much in free agency. We kind of like got rid of quite a lot of players. We didn't add a lot of marquee players. So it's kind of like but we kind of control the next draft though because we got the most picks. That's the fascinating thing. So
we'll get into that as well. But that whole situation is hilarious. I mean, Jonathan Gannon, his speeches as well. We'll get to that later on. We'll get to that later on too, because I'm sure you've heard about that. Mr. Motivator himself. But it's exciting. Can't wait to get into it.
All right. So this week's episode, we are going to be going through a little bit of the news of what's going on in the league itself, and then we're going to go on to Divisional Breakdowns. So this is just a preview of the season and what we think is going to happen within the divisions and who we think is going to win specific awards themselves. So, first of all, Peter, are the Cardinals tanking?
My response to that is this. Okay, so I'm going to be strategic about this. So we are sort of tanking, but at the same time, let me put it in this way. So in the world of finance and economics, right, there's a job where some people call it hedge fund managers, right? So basically what they do, they tend to kind of like they hedge your money and your finances to see what happens in the business here. So they're basically hedging it. They're not gonna commit fully, they're not gonna commit, out of it totally. So basically, what I do believe, so when it comes to Cardinals, when the GM, the new head coach, and the new coaching staff do say that they do believe in Kyler, I actually agree that they do believe in him, but they do believe in him to a certain extent, and that is, we believe in you, and they're gonna give him the opportunity to kind of like prove to them that he is the right quarterback to lead the franchise. So this year, it's not about wins and losses for the Cardinals per se. It's more to do with trying to find out, is Kyler the quarterback that we need to have moving forward? And that reflects on, because he's coming off his ACL injury.
Okay,
they put him on PUP to begin the season, right?
So that's 4 weeks. You're not going to have him
Yes.
there. Now, the key question that I'm going to ask as a follow-up, do you see a situation where Kyler could get traded this season?
Only if he doesn't play well. That's the scenario. And only if a team is blowing the Cardinals out of the water. Because think about it, Monty Ossenfort in his first NFL draft proved that he's a very crafty GM. He managed to get a potential high number one overall pick from the Houston Texans and also add a potential future Pro Bowl left tackle in the draft. That's getting 2 first-round picks in a draft that potential we might not have had. So he can be quite, risk averse in the trade market. The only way we trade Kyler is if a team comes out and blows out the water for him, or he does not play well when he comes back from his ACL injury. I remember a couple of I think it was this week or last week when Michael Lombardi went on Pat McAfee's show and was saying that the Cardinals probably will not play him this year. I can tell you that that's a lie because Kyler Murray himself will not agree to that because he knows I'm coming off an ACL injury. I need to play to prove something
he needs to
to
prove
an NFL
something.
team. If a potential team will trade for me, I got to come out and play well so that they can see, okay, we see something here, we can trade for him. So at the end of the day, it all happens on how Kyler plays when he comes back from the ACL. Like I said at the beginning, wins and losses don't matter to the Cardinals this year because we've seen quarterbacks play well, even with their team ending up with a top 10 pick. A couple of years ago, yes, Drew Brees was a veteran quarterback then, but the Saints still had a top 10 pick. They finished 7-9, had a top 10 pick, and he still had a great season. It's just the team around him wasn't great at that point. So quarterbacks can play well without wins and losses. So it's about Kyler coming back to play well. And if he doesn't play well and we end up with the number one overall pick, there's a potential that we move on. If he plays well and he still ends up with the number one overall draft pick, then I don't think they're going to trade him because they will see that the wins and losses is down to the team not being good enough despite how well he's played. Like, for instance, Kyler could come back and average, I don't know, with my score, but we average 24 points a game and we still lose a lot of games. You don't put on the quarterback because you're still generating about 24 points a game, which is a good average for a poor team.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about this whole thing is that I think 100% Kyler knew this before going in. I think they had to communicate it to him because if he had no intention of sitting out 4 games to like recoup, he said, I'm ready to go. Maybe the first game out. No, but I'm ready to go. Then he wouldn't be happy at all. You know what I mean? So I think he's aware of this. Monty, I think, is trying to fix everything that Steve Keim left. So he's understanding that he has to build a roster. So he's acquired pieces. I think obviously sending what's the name, Simmons to the Giants. I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to be a really good player for the Giants. But I think he kind of looked at it as though, look, I'm going to give away potentially a hallmark linebacker, a future hallmark linebacker, and I'm going to use those pieces to try and get a really good team going. So I think that makes sense. I can see that's what he's trying to do.
1 second, the Simmons trade, right? Just before you carry on, right?
Yeah.
One other reason why we traded him is because if you watch a preseason game against the Chiefs, the touchdown that the Chiefs scored, and when he was making that tackle, it was no effort. And right now, with what's
people who are locked in, right?
What are you saying? Are you saying it's more about
an attitude thing from him?
An attitude thing. So Monty's looking for his type of players. So he's looking for a certain type of player, and that doesn't fit the MO.
The culture they're trying to build right now with the Cardinals is we want effort. As in, like, even if you don't have any talent, if on a given play, I see you hustling, bustling, trying to put your all in 100%, and it's still a touchdown, I know that you tried everything you can to try and stop that. With Simmons on that particular play, he showed no effort on that play. It was almost like the guy was almost at the end zone. So let me just, when a player he loafed on that play. And in training camp, there had been reports that he hasn't really kind of
there has to be
that culture of 100% effort.
This has to be a pattern. There's no way on that one play, and it happens. Like if you know if it's a TD, you're gonna let the guy be like, what, he's gonna catch it anyway.
So from the conversations I've had with guys in America,
who
are just general fans of the NFL, is it didn't surprise them. It didn't surprise them that you guys cut loose. Now, okay, so you don't see that. You don't see Kyler get traded unless something drastic severely happens.
Yeah,
it's hard to find a quarterback in the league. It's so hard.
It's
Even
extremely hard
drafting.
to find exactly.
Kyler can play.
Exactly.
We've seen it.
And unfortunately for Kyler, the pup list comes 2 months too early for him because Call of Duty is coming out in 2 months' time. So we know that we know that jive.
Yes, Billy, you had to put that jab in.
Listen, he was still like MVP favorite 10 games to the season in 2021 when
and Peter has bitten upon that. Like I've just put in a jibe and he's defended him with all of his might. Okay,
listen, I'll defend Kyler, so I can't defend him no more.
Right. So, speaking of other players that have gone on the pup list, Jonathan Taylor. Come off an injury at the end of last season. Wants a new contract. It's not getting given a new contract to the monetary value that he wants. Was asked to find a trading partner. The Colts did not trade, gave him a deadline. No trade happened. He ended up on the pup list. So he's out for the first 4 weeks. He hasn't trained. So what do you guys think's going on here? Because me as a Colts fan, I'm conflicted. I want to see Jonathan Taylor on the field.
Yeah.
You don't have a running back like that, and you don't play him.
Yep.
But we also have a stupid amount of money invested in the O-line. So, unfortunately, our friend Marcus wants everybody to get paid. Not everybody can get paid to the highest level. Otherwise, the NFL owners could make their hundreds of millions like they can. But that's a different conversation. Well, it's kind of the same conversation. What I will say is, do you see a scenario that Jonathan Taylor doesn't play a snap this season?
So I don't think so. Because here's the thing: it depends if he wants to do a Le'Veon Bell did a couple of years ago. He wasn't. It was a little bit different. He wasn't injured, but he started the whole season, right? Literally till late in the season that he played. I don't know if he started the whole season or he missed so many games because he chose to sit out, right? But Jonathan Taylor's situation is a bit conflicted, like you said. He's coming off injury, and that's what makes it so hard to get a contract coming off that injury and starting on the pup list. If he had no injury, I'm sure there would be some sort of discussion trying to work out a contract. But I think him coming off that injury, maybe
I think it's the amount of money he wants, because he fired his agent and hired a new one, and then all of a sudden, these problems started appearing.
But here's the thing, though. Like, even if you sign a new agent, right, and you're 100% healthy, no injury issues, there could be some sort of negotiations towards trying to make it happen. But the minute NFL teams are very loath to giving players that are injured contracts.
One, injured, coming off an injury to get a contract. Two, you're a running back. We've got to talk about this. Running back
that's true.
Is a problem in this league.
He's having to fight so many different angles at the same time, and I think Chris Ballard right now is coming out with this crazy oxymoron. So he's there saying, we like it's a damn shame. Like this sucks. Like, but last time I checked, Chris, you're on the negotiating table trying to work in favor of the team. So this whole thing has been perpetuated by him. So this is why when I saw him in the press conference
as well. Don't forget,
he's also Ursay as well. Yes, Ursay as well. But I'm there like, look, just be honest. So I think after what happened with Ezekiel Elliott, it's really hard because they're paying the position group, and the same thing happened with safeties.
I think
it's still happening to safeties. They're paying a position group as opposed to the individual talent. I think he's fully deserving of it.
Do you know who I think killed the running back monetary market?
Who?
Todd Gurley.
Yes, I agree. Because when the Rams gave him that big deal, his knees went.
Yeah.
But he had arthritis. That's the difference.
But that was arthritis. And there's talks
He
like
had
you know
arthritis.
but
He had an
they kind
underlying
of
condition,
saw parts of
right?
it coming. They saw
We need
parts
to
of it coming
understand.
up, and they
When
still
they
gave
gave
him his
the
money.
deal, he was the best running back in the league. You can't deny
Yeah,
that.
but
When
the
they
thing
gave him
is,
that deal, he was
yeah, he was.
at the top
He
of
was
his
the best
game.
run. So he was the best running back in the league at that time, but he had an underlying health issue in the first place. They knew it. They didn't risk manage. You know, you're talking about finance. They didn't risk manage in that circumstance. This is the risk management, but this is a guy who's actually performed extremely well for the organization. He got banged up, but that's because they were using him and him alone because nobody else was useful.
Yeah, no, it's hard, especially if you have like a young QB as well. You need a good run game. Like the O line can be great, but let's be real. Like I don't care how big he is as a QB, and we've heard that this guy's like a yoked up Cam Newton, so he's huge.
He's the same
but
size as Cam Newton.
he's the same size as Cam Newton, but I think he's got a little bit more base. Like he's got a more aggressive running style.
Estimate.
I'm not underestimating Cam.
Listen,
I'm not underestimating Cam, but they have
Cam
different
was
running
great and then
styles.
fell off a cliff.
Yeah?
They have different running styles. Cam is a glider.
Cam was putting body on linebackers. He was bodying linebackers, bro.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is you can't run this guy 30 times, 20 times a game. Like, I mean, he's probably going to run the ball anyway because that's going to help him develop. It can keep plays alive. And to be honest, Colts fans, you kind of want him to because that's when he can be game breaking. Like,
I don't think there's any.
With Jalen Hurts.
In my opinion, there's me as a Colts
Josh
fan,
Allen as well.
There's no expectations upon this year.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback. We've got this contract situation. The rest of the team was supposed to be ready, but wide receivers.
Yeah, I know. There's no expectations this year, but here's the thing: you guys are gonna win more games than the Cardinals, right? And you're probably gonna win more games than the Houston Texans. Let's be frank, because you guys have more pieces.
Because the Texans had a gigantic hole in their team to fill. They had more than one position, right?
Yeah, that's true. So my thing is, when you guys finish 5 and number 2, we have a pick for you. Now, you can give us 2 first-round picks to come and take Mavs Jr. You know, he's a Colt royalty. I need those 3 first-round picks from your Colts next year. That's why I need you guys to finish up on my Cardinals.
Also, I've got a question for you, Dilly. So obviously there were no trades.
I want the ganja that Peter's been smoking for sure, definitely, because that ain't happening. But yeah, Will, what were you saying?
Yeah,
you would give up 3 first for Marvin's son? He's a
3. Look, we have dibs. Dibs equal picks, right? So dibs, we're already guaranteed to have them. So
yeah.
But in reality. Well, what were you asking?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so obviously they put the feelers out there for a trade. Now, my question is, obviously, none of what they heard back from...
They wanted
a first-round pick. So here's the oxymoron. This is the thing. So they're saying, you know, he's worth a first-round pick. So they obviously see his value. They understand his value.
Correct.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, when it comes to him negotiating this, and I'm sure his agent's bringing this up, so you think he's worth a first-round pick and maybe a few other pieces potentially, but yet when it comes to paying him,
right? And I'll give
really
you an
just
analogy.
The injury that's his main thing.
I'll give you an analogy, right? And it's a spherical football analogy. There's a difference between the value how much you value somebody to sell them,
yeah,
and how much you want to buy them for.
True.
Correct.
Yep.
So a new contract is equivalent of buying, and the selling is what picks you want to get. There's always going to be a disparity between the two. So I think that's where we're at with regards to that. I think that Jonathan Taylor will eventually see sense because he needs to increase his value after the injury. He needs to show that I'm fit, I'm ready to go. And
is this his 5th year? Or is it his 4th year?
It's 4th year, and there isn't a 5th year because it was a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was him, I'd play angry, ball out, and it sounds fast for you, Dilly. Okay, assuming he does ball out, I'd cut ties.
Well, the cut ties would be free agency because that's where you're hit.
If he wants to prove everyone wrong and leave with a splash, he needs to play, and he will play. We've all learned from Le'Veon Bell years ago That
You
holding
don't
out
sit
as a
out a
running
whole
back,
year.
as a running
No,
back is something
just
you
doesn't
just
work.
don't do because you'll lose money, a lot
Yeah,
of
but he
money in
still
the
got
end.
paid for it from the
He
Jets.
still
Though.
got paid, but he would have got paid more. That's a
He
year
did.
of his
He got paid
income
less
that
though, didn't he?
yeah,
No, he got paid more.
he got paid more, but that year that he was out, it kind of evens out. So he actually
Yeah, it
lost
doesn't make a
money.
difference.
Yeah, he got paid more, but the year affected him in his performance. He wasn't the
Yeah,
same when he got
he
back on
wasn't
the
the same
field.
back, and that's the story of
But
Le'Veon Bell.
but that's the thing. He eventually got the money he wanted from the Jets, who were willing to give him the money. But it's just a case of the performance didn't match the money he eventually got. I mean, what makes this complicated is JT's injury. I think he'll come off PUP, get healthy, play the season, and like Will said, either the coach's gonna cut him or they're gonna tag him.
probably
The
tag
tag
him.
could be the tag
probably
could
tag.
happen.
Yeah.
The tag could definitely happen. That is something that I do see happening because let's see how Anthony Richardson's first season goes. And I'm sure we're going to be touching up on this throughout the season because this saga is not going to end straight away. Yeah. Right, other news within the league. Travis Kelce, ahead of week 1, is an extreme doubt. He has a knee contusion. He has injured his knee in some way or form. So that's a bit of a blow. But what I will say is Mahomes is Mahomes. So
He'll find a way.
He'll find a way as far as I'm concerned. It's an injury. Now, we haven't seen Kelce get injured that much in the past. I don't think at all,
durable.
really.
Very
He's been extremely durable.
Very slippery as well. Hard to get clean shot on him.
So, if we look at that, he doesn't generally miss games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a training injury, so is this the start of potentially the latter years of Kelce? I know it's 33 or something like that. So he's not exactly young, but
I think you have to look at the nature of the injury. A hyperextension is by no means it's by no means an ender. They haven't confirmed any sort of ligament damage, but don't get me wrong.
It's not an ender. I'm talking about are we going to start to see him get injured a little bit more than we have in the past?
Yeah, the thing is, the concern comes from once you had an injury or you've, how can I say, stretched out those ligaments and tendons around that knee joint, they might become a little bit more susceptible. But, he's a constant pro, so he's the kind of guy that will spend time in the training room, that'll make sure he's doing the preparation to get ready for games to help sort of minimize issues. Not just that, but Kansas City have a vested interest on making sure that he's 100% good to go. They want to keep him up. The NFL has a vested interest in keeping him safe. You know what I mean? So he's the kind of guy where if something bad happens in the season from a tackle, how QBs get rule changes?
Well, the reason I say this, if you look at tight ends, and star tight ends, how many of them do we actually have in the league? We've got Kelce, we've got Andrews, we've got Kittle.
It's really 3.
That's it. Those are the stars from a tight end perspective.
Well, there's a potential star if he had a good quarterback friend on the ball. But sometimes first cousins decide to be third cousins. You never know.
So there's the Hockness monster, so it's TJ Hawkinson, and then you got Frymouth as well, who's getting towards being better.
Yeah,
and
this is like the B-listers.
Well. They're the tier below, but you've got to have some.
There's one interesting tight end though this year that he needs to rise his game. He has a potential, but is he gonna rise his game? He needs to. Kyle Pitts. But what I'm saying is that I know his quarterback Desmond Reader is a young quarterback. There's some potential in there. But hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Desmond, I think you're a cool guy, but I'm sorry.
Let me finish, bro. When I say there's potential, I'm not saying the guy's gonna all of a sudden be on the level of the Joe Burrows levels or even on the Kyler level. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, can Kyle Pitts becomes, because when you talk about those superstar tight ends, those 3 or 4 as a 3, when you talk about Kelce, Andrews,
Kittle,
and
yeah, Mark Andrews,
Kittle.
Kittle.
Those are the top three. They're the superstar tight ends. And for a time, Waller was coming into the conversation, but until he got traded
Waller,
to the
yeah,
Giants.
yeah.
For a season, he was around that level. But what I'm saying is that can Kyle Pitts, because those three, they will produce numbers regardless of who's throwing them the football. Can Kyle Pitts do that? Because when you get to that superstar level, you produce regardless of your circumstance.
But they've had the luxury of having good signal callers throwing them the football. I don't think Desmond Ridder's going to get him the ball in space.
Hold on a
Like, he's just
second.
not going to get it done.
Okay.
So it's
I'm going to debunk it. I'm going to debunk it a little bit because before Pat Mahomes got there, Kelce was putting numbers up with Alex Smith, and Alex Smith is not a Hall of Famer.
It doesn't need to be a Hall of Famer.
No, but
I'm
you
just
don't
saying
get the point I'm trying to
You
make.
need to have somebody competent behind center.
Ridder and
is that
Alex
what it is?
Smith there's still a wide chasm between. I
Okay,
take
so
Alex
here's the
Smith
thing.
right now
The
in
point I'm trying to
street
prove.
over Ridder.
No, but Will, you need to understand the point I'm trying to prove that these tight ends, right? They've reached a level of where certain receivers were. Like for instance, we're talking about legendary receivers. Terrell Owens, regardless of who's throwing the rock, he's going to get his numbers each year in year out.
And that
Randy Moss
and
was
what
getting
I'll
his
say-
numbers regardless of the QB. Larry Fitzgerald was getting 1,000-yard seasons or postseason regardless of the shit QBs that was throwing the football.
So
that's what I'm trying to get at.
So what I'll say on this is, when I saw Kyle Pitts, I think I saw him score his first touchdown ever in the NFL here at the Tottenham Stadium in London. Now, what I will say is that at that time, the entire offense, aside from him, was Cordero Patterson, right? So just a running back. Now, who do they have? They have
BJ.
They have Drake
Bijan.
London.
Yeah.
Who's going to get his fair share? It diverts attention away from just Kyle Pitts getting double teamed.
Yeah. And they got Bijan Robinson, who they're going to use.
Basically.
So he has the opportunity now to be able to eat. So this is the year for him. This is a year for him to make his mark, irrespective of who's behind center.
Still got to get him the ball.
Correct.
He's a big target. He's a big target.
But the thing is, if you're playing from behind a lot,
be a safety
what are you going to be doing? Throwing the ball.
No, but here's the thing though. He even has more opportunity now because they drafted Bijan Robinson, who's meant to be one of those special backs, right? Bijan Robinson from Texas Tech in his past draft is meant to be one of those special backs. He was drafted in the top 10 by the Falcons, right? He's meant to be one of the special backs. Now, if he can do his thing running the football, it opens up the field because now teams will try to commit more to stop the run, and the field becomes wide open.
The play action pass will be better. Getting the tight end, getting the
play action tight end.
I didn't realize how tall Drake London is. He's huge.
Yeah, no, he's a tall guy. Julio Jones not physique like that, but he's got that kind of size and presence.
Hey, I got a little something to throw out here. Now, thinking about the Falcons, right? They ain't got a quarterback. Kyler will cook with those weapons. Trust me.
Wow, you're already selling him.
So what? We do have the circle of Arizona when it comes to Peter, but I actually see he has a point here because when I asked the question of will they trade him, not many teams in this league at the moment are looking for a quarterback.
For now,
right?
Yep.
You look at now. I'm just gonna breeze over. Right, you look at the AFC South. Rookie, and Trevor.
Third year Trevor, yeah.
And Trevor, I see he's on the trajectory to be good. As far as I'm concerned, I've seen what he is to be. He's on the way to becoming a top level player.
Yeah. He's good now, but he's going to get a lot better.
Right.
Great. Yeah.
AFC East, you've got the Bills. They don't need anybody. You've got the Jets. They don't need anybody. You got the Dolphins. Providing Tua's noggin is all right. They don't need anybody. The only question mark is in the Patriots, but then they had the scenario last season of having a defensive coordinator giving offensive calls, so
Yeah.
God knows what's going to happen when
That
it comes to Mac
experiment,
Jones.
yeah,
Basically.
that
So
experiment's not
God
going to
knows what's
happen
going to
this
happen.
year. That
So
experiment's over now.
that's 2 divisions already disappeared. Then you look at AFC North. Kenny Pickett. They're not going to be looking to replace him. Cleveland, no chance. They've spent so much money. The Bengals, not a chance
No
at all.
chance. Still
Exactly.
waiting to
And the
get paid.
Ravens, no chance. So that
Yeah.
division's already gone. And the West, you've got Mahomes, you've got Herbert, Jimmy G. At the
Yeah, he'll
moment,
hold it together.
He'll
I
hold
mean,
it together, and that's the thing. He'll get injured at some point because that's
teams of
the
someone
circle of Jimmy
holding
G.
teams may be looking to bring a guy in, but I don't think they're looking like Kyler's coming in to start for your team. He's not coming in to sort of
Correct.
as a
Yeah, but
byway, or
so-
even if you have like
so-
an Aaron Rodgers, and let's say he's like, I'm done, or this is my last 2 seasons. You know,
yeah, but
then
he said
perhaps maybe you
he's
bring
gonna
him
try
in.
and groom Wilson though, because I think Roger now has accepted that, and he's gonna groom
Ain't going
Zach. He's gonna
nowhere.
help
And
Zach.
the thing is,
But hold on 1 second. Let me finish this point. The reason why Rogers is saying that is because when Rogers got to the Jets, he and Zach can actually relate. He can see that this guy's like me when I was young. So
Mhm.
they have that. You know when you see someone that's like a younger version of yourself and you can help them. And Rogers is
Aaron
willing to
Rodgers
help.
liked grandmothers when he was young.
Well, you never know. There was no social media when he was young, so you know.
He might have been into that, but yeah.
He didn't have social media at the time, so you never
Yeah,
know.
like a Brett Favre would be Aaron
All I'll say
Rodgers
is
coming
Aaron
in.
keep Zach
And,
from your mom, innit? That's all I gotta say. Like, just
yeah, so I mean, it's very much a case of like, once we get to
when you
week
look around all
5,
the
week
teams, right?
6, we're
The
gonna
one
see.
team that is intriguing is the Falcons because their quarterback is not,
He's
a
not
lot
part
of
of their future.
potential in Reader, right?
No, he's
But
not.
if you look at a team, they're kind of like a quarterback away because the weapons are there. Pitts,
But they had to draft that last year.
Offensively.
They've had to draft that over the last few years. They've drafted the future in the offensive side of the ball. Their problem has always been the other side of the ball, generally
Defense
being
has never
absolutely
been.
terrible.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
defense has always been
but that's the
suspect.
thing.
But a
So
QB, if
let's
you have
say
a
let's say the season started right, and they realized that Reader is okay, but the offense is not reaching the potential he wanted to reach. Now, maybe in the offseason you might swing something a little. Because I want to Mike Kyler on the Falcons because they got weapons. Like they've got giants like Pitts and this guy and the running back. That's like a set of weapons. But if Kyler comes out and balls out, hey, I want him to stay.
I mean, they're just gonna go. Like I said, it's a soft tank. So if they win games, I mean, what they want to do is they want to play well enough so that they can evaluate the players they have on both sides of the ball, so they can see like who's going to be there for the long term. This is the whole point. They don't need Desmond Ridder to like ball out. They just want to see, okay, when Kyle Pitts is open, when we have these guys all working together, great, because you can't evaluate a team if your QB can't throw the ball more than 30 yards down the field accurately. You can't evaluate the players you have on the outside. So I think, yeah. So I think even if they lose, if they lose games, that's great because they're just building up more ammunition. I don't think they're going to be able to leapfrog the Cardinals as far as what they're going to be able to do in the draft. Like if they really want to go after someone, like let's say if they want to move on from Kyler, you've got Caleb Williams potentially right there. And you have the ammunition to perhaps move up because just like you said, Dilly, how many teams are actively looking for QBs right now? Or can move off a QB. So there's a good chance.
You guys need to realize, as we're talking about going back to Cardinals tanking here, keep an eye out for the early rounds. Don't be surprised if they tank hard to keep Caleb in LA. Just watch out for them. I know they've got Stafford, but look at their roster. Their roster is not exactly the best.
There's a key question. There's a key question. They have a first round pick next year because I lose track.
No, they do. They actually do.
So 2024 is the first time in about 35,000 years that they'll have a first round pick.
Man,
yeah,
I'm just imagining that meme in my head.
And Caleb Williams, USC, LA Rams. It's perfect, but the thing is, don't be surprised if they tank even harder. That's what I'm saying. Even though they've got Stafford,
a lot has to go right.
Don't be surprised if they tank hard.
Because there's going to be some teams who have a quarterback.
Cooper Kupp is not ready for week 1, is he?
Okay, so that leads me on to the next thing. Cooper Kupp has some underlying injury issues.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to have a significant impact on this team.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not good to go, it's just going to be one of those things, right? Like where if he can't
I
play.
think for the Rams, it's important that they don't play him straight away if he's
Oh yeah,
fizzled
absolutely.
out, because you don't want him gone for the whole season. He's that good of a player.
Yeah, I think most likely he won't play week 1 because I'm just looking at it now, and it sounds like it's a hamstring. And hamstrings, you want to wait till it's like ready.
You need to wait till it's ready, otherwise you're going to aggravate it, and you're going to be back on that injury table.
When you
quickly.
win a Super Bowl, when you've won a Super Bowl, you kind of give yourself like a respite for a good 2 to 3 years.
Even
where the 5 years, where the fans are kind of like,
but
it's okay.
This is LA.
This is the LA. Yeah, expectations are high, but
yeah, that's true though, because LA culture is winning. You got to win all the time.
Win. If you don't win, then no one's going to come watch your games. So, but they've kind of earned. Well, I think that they can probably only do this for another 2 more years, and then they have to sort of be back in the race. And I think as long as they keep McVay there, and I think they know as long as they have McVay, there's always hope. You know. That being said, they don't want to play him.
Listen, if I'm the Rams, listen, this is what I think wild. If I'm the Rams owner, Korean owns my Arsenal team, I just tell McVay that, look, whatever you do this year, be competitive, but we tanking for Caleb, bro. Just remember that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It reminds me of that meme where, you ask him, hey, what are you doing? And he's just there like, me? just hanging around. I'm not trying to win nothing. I'm just putting a team out every week, making sure they're paid. We'll see what happens.
Because think about it. Because Matthew Stafford's contract is not like Kyler's one, which will be difficult a bit for the Cardinals to move because his contract is huge. Stafford's contract is not that huge. So they could move it easily to draft Caleb if they get a one overall pick.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's one of those things. What I was going to say earlier was that there are teams that are going to have a QB of the future in place that aren't going to play very well. And they're probably going to end up in that top 10. Those guys aren't looking for a new quarterback, regardless of what happens, right? So that's going to give teams that actually need one a chance to really leapfrog, which is why, like, the Arizona stacking up those picks, there aren't like 10 teams in the NFL with bad QBs. There's probably maybe only potentially 1 or 2 or 3 at best, so...
Oh, wait, no.
I'm just saying. There's more than that.
Okay,
but what I'm saying is there's teams that aren't going to move off. Like if you're
okay, so hold on a second. We know that
don't say Sam Howell. Sam Howell's going to surprise some people.
Bro, listen. It depends on how he plays. But we start from the Falcons, right? Reader's not going anywhere, so they'll potentially need a QB. Because at some point you need to elevate your QB talent level. The Saints, Derek Carr. Let's see what he does this year. But if he doesn't ball out, they might need a QB.
Okay.
Because Derek Carr has been a good QB. He hasn't been a great QB in the NFL. When you go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anybody believe Baker Mayfield's going to turn around?
Baker Mayfield,
Okay, as far as that, so Tampa is only one of the very few places that I could see it like as a potential trading partner, because they don't have a set quarterback in place as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Depending on how Baker plays, like he might reinvent himself.
In my opinion, there's nobody in the AFC. It is not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening in the AFC. It's set. So now, earlier this week, I listened to a podcast, right? And the person was saying that the landscape of QBs in the young up and coming, if Rodgers finishes in the next 2 years, right? The QB, we even said it last season that it's stacked on the AFC side. So it's kind of like the NFL kind of is thinking, how do we get the NFC to also rise in parity to the QB level of the AFC? You get what I'm saying? Because the AFC, you've got Mahomes, you've got Allen, you've got Burrow, you've got Herbert, Tua,
stacked,
Jackson. If Deshaun comes back strong this year, it's like it's stacked.
And then you've got the young guys.
Exactly. So it's like on the NFC side, can the NFC rise a little bit? Because even in this past draft, CJ Stroud, if he has a strong rookie season, he's on his way to joining them now.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like the NFC. You've got Hurts, Dark.
Yeah.
If
No, the
Geno.
NFC has
Geno Smith. Is that Geno Smith?
it has Hurts.
Hurts, Dark.
No, Dak. I'm not including in that.
Or you can't just young quarterbacks.
No, I'm talking about top level quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you've got to.
I wouldn't even put Dak in the same breath as
I mean, I hate Dallas. I hate Dallas, but Dak. I'm not saying he's top, but I'm like he's gonna be.
Would Dak get in the? Okay. Would Dak even get in the top 10 quarterbacks in the AFC?
He won't.
He won't. No.
The way the talent level is stuck, I think he's just outside.
He's just outside.
I wouldn't put him.
He wouldn't. He's in the top few in the NFC, but that doesn't say much. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what we were saying here. So
so in a sense, it's kind of like when we think about it, right? In a sense, if Kyler comes back and plays really well, it kind of helps the talent level in the NFC in a way, because the NFC is dying for young, good quarterbacks right now.
It is most definitely so. So there's a little bit of news, general chat about certain things that we've thought about with regards to the season upcoming. We're going to talk about 2 or 3 of the matchups that are coming in week 1, and then we're going to get into some predictions for the divisions and for the awards for this season. So, first game, we're going to talk about the first game of the season, Chiefs-Lions. Now, the Lions just about missed the playoffs last season. Do we think they have the potential to upset the Chiefs in this opener if Kelce is not playing? I say no, because it's at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
First game of the season, at Arrowhead, with all that noise, I don't see anyone but Mahomes blowing the Lions away in this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's... I mean, teams are either going to come out guns blazing and they're just going to remind you why they're really damn good, or they're going to come out slow. The Kansas City Chiefs are just too good to sort of be sloppy on the way out. They're too well coached, they're too well drilled, and they have Pat Mahomes. So I don't think it's going to be... There's not going to be anything out of the ordinary in this game. But what I want to see is how the pieces for Detroit match up as well, because a lot of people are saying, they could do some damage this year. Everyone wants to see that next progression. That team, obviously, they've lost DeAndre Swift, but, they have the Alabama back, which I believe is going to be healthy now. And obviously, Jameson Williams, I think if he's past his legal issues, we could see him hit the field as well, potentially. So that's going to be really interesting to see. So I'm more excited to see how the new look Detroit offense is going to look. So that's going to be interesting to see. But like I said, like the Kansas City Chiefs are too well oiled for things to not go their way. And across the board, position by position, they're stacked. Kadarius Toney is going to be a much bigger part of that offense. So obviously you have Justin Watson, who sort of came into his own towards the end of last year as well. So I think they won't necessarily miss a beat. And then obviously you have Justin Ross as well from Clemson, who a lot of people say a year ago was the best
favorites.
Yeah,
so they're quite significant favorites going into this game.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be business as usual. I don't think there's that much of a story, but if I do want to see anything, I want to see Detroit's young players on offense really try and say, hey, I'm in the NFL now. Jameson Williams, we didn't get to see that last year. And some people say he was the best wideout in that draft. He just wasn't healthy, at the time. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, I think the Chiefs is going to win. But what I'm looking forward to is that I hope it's competitive. As in, Detroit keeps it close and the Chiefs will eventually pull away by 2 touchdowns or something. I just hope it's not a blowout game, and I think the Lions will be competitive enough. Because in this game, the Chiefs need to be ready, because the Lions are coming to bite their kneecaps in this match. They don't stop. They're always biting your kneecaps. They're biting your foot, on their way to try to make it a tough competitive game. So they're
Is
gonna
Chris
come. They're
Jones
gonna
still
be
holding
tough.
out? Sorry to interrupt. Chris Jones?
Yeah,
Is he still
yeah,
holding out? Okay. I mean,
yeah,
they find a way. I mean, they're an offensive team, but
yeah.
like I said, like if people find a
But
way,
then
Chris,
over
your
the
value's
playoffs,
dropping. Yeah.
the Chiefs they've got some nice young pieces on defense too that showed up in the playoffs, made some plays for them. So I think the Chiefs will win this one. But in a way, I'm looking forward to how competitive the Lions will be. And the key thing to watch is when we watch this game, we'll be able to tell how far the Lions are away from joining the elites, without the marquee quarterback. Jared Goff is alright, okay, but when you look at all these top teams that rival the Chiefs, like the Bills, the Bengals, they always have a QB that's comparable to Mahomes. We know Mahomes is number one. That is without a doubt. But those QBs have comparable talent level to Mahomes. They are not far off from Mahomes' level. We know Mahomes is number one, but they could also say that we also have a quarterback that we believe in that can make plays and keep games close between us when we play Mahomes. So the Lions don't have that. But then how far are they as a team in terms of closeness to the Chiefs? Because the Chiefs are the standard, right? And whenever you're building a team, you wanna compare your team to what the standard is and how far you're off. So we'll see. Hey, if Mahomes blow them out, they might decide we want the elite quarterback now.
Right. Moving on to the last game of the actual week, and I think this is a juggernaut matchup. Buffalo Bills against the Aaron Rodgers-led New York Giants. The Jets. That isn't a faux pas from me. So the New York Jets against the Buffalo Bills at MetLife. So it's a home game. Rodgers has got to put on a show here because the New York crowds aren't known to be exactly something. Aren't to be very forgiving at all, are they?
Yeah, if things don't go to plan in this game, and I know Rodgers is notorious for having like a bit of a stinker first game, and then he sorts things out. But this is obviously a new team. That only ever happened with Green Bay. But yeah, New York does not mess around. Like they will lift if they don't like if they lose this game, or if they play a bit sloppy, they will boo him by the half. Of course, they're not going to be asking for anyone else. Don't get me wrong, but they will be boos at the start of the half. But that's how it is in New York. So I'm excited for this game. Like I think it's going to be a really good matchup. Aaron Rodgers with some really nice dynamic weapons and a really good run game as well.
Have you seen the weapons he has got on this team?
Yeah,
a lot.
Tremendous.
So, running back room. Breece Hall,
potential
coming off an injury,
was going to be offensive rookie of the year. Like he was right in the runnings for it.
And then you've just got the small thing of Dalvin Cook in the backfield as well, who is a top class running back who has an issue of popping his shoulder every now and again, but still able to run with it. Which is insane in itself. Then he's got old trusted Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, who brought over from the Packers, and then just a small thing of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, massive dynamic on the outside.
Yeah, and this time
future
he
star
has a
wide
very good
receiver.
offensive line too. Dwayne Brown, Micah Becton.
So Becton's going to has improved because from what I've heard, that he's talked about, in the past few weeks, is that the attitude that Becton brought when it came into camp was really good. And considering the expectations that was upon Becton at right tackle when he came into the league, it looks like he could be stepping in the right direction when it comes to his actual play. They think.
Yeah, really looking forward. For me, in this matchup with the Bills, the match I'm looking forward to is Sauce versus Diggs. I know last year, Sauce as a rookie had Diggs' number. Check the stats. He shut down Diggs. Will it be an encore, or would the wily veteran be like, "I got something for you this time. I've worked on it. I've studied the tape. I'm fascinated to see how that matchup's going to be."
See,
Sauce versus Gibbs.
the thing about that matchup is usually you're like, yeah, no, the wide receiver definitely, they may not show it, but they keep score. So they know when they were dealt with during a game. So he's going to come out differently. But here's the thing about Sauce, he's also studying.
No, that's
He's
what I'm
also
saying, because
studying, and he's going to make sure
you-
he's going to do the same thing again. He's a hard worker, so it's just one of those.
The one thing
those
I'll say
matchups.
about the Bills this season, number one back is James Cook, right?
Mhm.
Wide receivers is now Gabe Davis and Diggs and Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, Cook is actually that's a good reunion. To see those two guys on the same game. I don't think they thought it was going to happen, but they're brothers, yeah. So that's literally that's going to come full circle. Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
Cook
literally.
Brother Bowl. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is something that I didn't. So if you look at the Bills, are ever so slight favourites in this one.
Mhm.
Do you
Also,
see them
one matchup
definitely
I'm
being the ones that win?
One matchup I'm looking forward to with the Bills is their defensive line. Seems that they've got some studs in there. Looking at the depth chart, Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver,
Greg Rousseau,
Daquan Jones,
Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd. That front seven is this is have some dogs in that front seven.
And
It'll be
then you've
interesting
got
to see how.
somebody like Matt Milano, who is extremely underrated, in my opinion, when it comes to
I
his
agree.
capability as a linebacker in this league.
Like, hey, if you throw about the middle and you're not careful, he'll pick it off. He's very good covering those middle deep zones.
And still, Von Miller's still not back, is he? So he's still out. So still got that to come back.
I think I'll go with Rogers, because I see, because this preseason, the level that he played seems like he's motivated, and whenever Rogers is motivated, he's dangerous. So I'll lean towards the Jets, and the Bills are slight favorites.
Do you think that the D line of the Bills could have their way with the O line of the Jets in this one?
Well, it depends on. They could, because like those guys that I just mentioned, they can get after the quarterback, but it also depends on how well the tackles do. The combination of Dwayne Brown and Mikael Becton, with the improvement that Becton's supposed to have made in camp.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, a motivated Rogers. I mean, like, he can get rid of the ball fast when he wants to. So it won't be an easy game. I won't say it'll be a shootout, but it could come down to like the last 2 minutes or so.
Expectation on this one is only for a total of 46.5 points, so it's not exactly known to be. It's not thought to be a high-scoring game. But we're not here. We're here providing a little bit of analysis on what we think about the games are going to be.
I think it would depend on which quarterback plays the smartest. Probably wins the game.
Because you look at the secondaries on both teams, they
They're
have the
like
ability
a
to play
push.
well. So it's going to be interesting it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they fare on Monday night. Sunday Night Football is two teams within Will's division: Cowboys, Giants.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a really interesting matchup, because Dallas, obviously, this is an important year for Dak. He's coming off that horrible year he had last year, from an INT standpoint. So he kind of, it's unfortunate, really, because I think he's proven that he belongs, but it's kind of like he's constantly having to reaffirm himself every year. Obviously, they brought in Trey Lance. I don't think is really a threat to Dak.
Yeah, he's not a threat at all. As far
But
as I'm
it's
concerned,
more-
Trey Lance is just going to be developing.
It's more of a case of getting some kind of value on the off chance something does happen. Then they've got someone that they can at least see how he performs. So yeah, no, you have that aspect there, and obviously this is like the first real year where Mike McCarthy is going to be calling the shots full on. So he can't really hide behind his OC anymore and say, yeah, things aren't going to plan. It's him calling the plays. So I think this is an important year for their coaching staff as well, because if he doesn't perform or they do worse, God forbid, then yeah, things could be happening there as well. The Giants, they're on the up and up. They've made a lot of acquisitions this offseason. Darren Waller, they've got a really good receiving unit, like a very I'd say one of the more interesting young receiving cores in the league.
So you look at it, they added Paris Campbell, who
Yep.
started to do okay. His issue has always been injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hyatt as a rookie wide receiver.
Yep.
Darren Waller, tight end. Jalen Hyatt has a lot of potential. Slayton and Hodgins are going to be
Just
those potential just a guy to get the ball to, right? They're not going to be anything flashy or anything like that. But the
Sterling
thing is,
Shepard
you don't
finally
always
coming
need that.
back off injury. Sterling Shepard as well.
Yes, you don't always need guys who are going to be flashy. Sometimes you just need guys who are just going to catch that ball.
Yeah,
and
but they obviously have Saquon as well, Saquads, and Daniel Jones. So he obviously got his money.
He got a little bit of money.
He got his money.
He got good money, and don't forget he can run the ball.
He can run the ball. Like I said, it's almost been like a fresh slate for him under a new like a new regime. So it's going to be good to see what he can do with another year in the belt, understanding that offense a little bit more. I think they expect him to improve, but it's insane because I'm seeing my Eagles division suddenly get better. So there's going to be more competition there. I think each team is incrementally improved, right? Washington as well. I'm going to keep a lookout for them too, because word around the camp is Sam Howell. Sam Howell is
Sam Howell. Okay, it was only preseason, but Sam Howell was throwing some nice passes in preseason.
He's not only throwing some nice passes, but he's playing like accurate. Or it's only preseason, but think about it like this: everyone was like, Washington needs a QB, but they were all adamant once they saw Sam Howell that this is the guy. Who was the little guy they had playing for him? It was what's his name? Washington's QB last year. I can't remember his name.
My guy.
Yeah, no, the little dude. I should say little, but he's probably taller than me.
He's a gamer, though. He's a gamer, bro.
He's a gamer. He's a gamer. But he basically said
they keep on the roster.
Yeah, he basically said at the time.
No, they didn't keep him on the roster. They released him.
Yeah, no, they got rid of him. But he basically said last year, he benched himself because he was like, look, I'm good, but this guy Sam Howell,
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. He was like, I'm good, but this guy behind me, you guys need to see this guy play. Everyone in the organization, the players knew.
Well, they had the issue. They had Wentz.
They had Wentz there, but the players and everyone in that organization, well, the players' side and a few coaches knew. They were basically like, yeah, no, Sam's the real deal. We drafted him. He's ready to go. So I think as soon as they came in with the new regime, they knew Sam Howell's going to be the guy going forward. And they had 100% confidence in that. They could have perhaps drafted a QB late, maybe moved up a bit, but they chose to stick with Sam Howell. And I think that's going to be interesting. Looking at the game you said, I just want to see the Giants, the new look Giants. I kind of know what to expect from Dallas, but I want to see this new look Giants with Darren Waller as the tight end.
What else? So you look at the defensive side of the ball, right? They've added Bobby. Okay. That linebacker.
Yeah.
Right. Who's the? So you look at some of their other positions. They got Leonard Williams. They got Kevin Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence.
Kevin Thibodeau,
yeah. Adoree Jackson.
Oh yeah, Adoree, left side corner. Yep.
So, and then they're like Simmons isn't even in the they acquired him. He's not even a starter there.
Yeah,
No, I think he's going to play a specialist role, and
he's learning that defense at the moment.
I
Before
feel
Yeah,
the
he's
like the
gonna have to
injuries.
Giants will
learn.
be good for Simmons because they have their, so to speak. Okay, so they have the defensive line that will enable him to shine because Simmons is not good at taking on blocks. So the Giants have beef up front. They've got Ashawn Robinson, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. That's beef. Dexter Lawrence is huge. So is Ashawn Robinson, Leonard Williams. So those front seven guys will allow either Simmons when it comes to especially pass rusher or plays special. I think they'll use him as an X factor, like weapon X, like someone that comes in. The front seven he has the blockers, and then he makes splash special plays to help the team. And I think Wink Martindale, they're gonna do a great job with Simmons. And for when he was drafted, initially I thought the Giants were the perfect team for him. Initially when he came out, but they didn't draft him then. But he ended up on the Giants anyway. But I think what I'm looking for at this game is Daniel Dan Jones. It's time to prove that you're not a fraud. Okay, because I still think he's a fraud. He needs to come out and prove that he's not a fraud because they're giving you Darren Waller. You got Paris Campbell. I know your receiving core is not great, but Jalen Hyatt is like I'm not saying Bravo with speed. He's got a lot of speed. Jalen Hyatt, deep threat. So you've got
And
some weapons now.
I think
Saquon can catch from the
now.
backfield.
So what I'll say now, and I'll add to this, is wide receivers nowadays generally more league ready than they've ever been.
Yep,
That's true.
the
Absolutely.
rules have changed to help them,
Absolutely.
It's not
and
just the rules.
because
I think it's
the
just the
college
league
game,
readiness.
the college game as well has kind of
I
shifted towards pass first.
exactly because they've got in line with the league now. So now receivers are more ready when they come out because recent trend over the last 3 to 5
You
years.
look at Garrett
Rookie
Wilson. He was a top,
receivers
he
are
was a good he was a
balling
good
now.
player last year. They are balling in their first year.
They're
Normally,
not taking their 1 year, 2 year to develop anymore. They just come out.
some are. The non-first rounders tend to be.
Mm.
They're taking their
Yeah.
time. The first
but
round
before,
guys, they come in and they shine. It's
but
those
before
latter round guys that
they
take a little
waiting
bit of time.
before they get the opportunities. But now they're shining right off the bat and threatening league records in their first years.
Literally, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Daniel Jones, I was looking at his record. Last year, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That ain't gonna fly. We need you to add about 10, 20 touchdowns to that. Because by them giving you that money, it's almost like they confirmed he's the guy. Although he's not ending top rank, the guy money, but it's
They got
your
him for
guy
cheap.
now.
They got him for cheap.
Okay, one question I'll say about the Cowboys. Their wide receiver core of CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, who tends to, in my opinion, tends to get injured, Michael Gallup, who tends to get injured.
But when those guys are on, they're better than the Giants receiving core, though.
Yep. When they're all on
three of
sync,
them are on.
then yeah, they
Correct.
can definitely
Brandon
play.
Cooks has the ability
Michael Gallup,
to be.
CeeDee Lamb.
I think and now they've got Tony Pollard to be the number one back, to be the guy. He is going to be extremely dynamic. I don't know about this game itself. Who do you guys think is actually going to win it? Because
before we get to predictions, can I say something about Brandon Cooks? All I gotta say is, can y'all stop trading my guy? Like, he's been traded so many times. Like, he's tired of it. Dallas has to be his last team. He can't get traded again.
Nah, I think
kids need to stay in the same school for once.
I think for him,
exactly, he's tired of it.
Yeah, no, I think the only reason why he was okay with maybe the Dallas trade was because his kids were finally going to they left preschool, so now it's like early high school or whatever it's called. So it's fine.
Kindergarten.
He can move cities, but I think he's gonna be there.
It's
This
not
is his
about
last
that
team.
because it's not even about the kids. It's like you guys need to value this guy for once. It's like, and it's not like he's not producing where he at. And it's
he produces.
He had like 2 1,000-yard seasons, 8 touchdowns, very good seasons. He got traded to New England. 100,000 yards, 9 touchdowns in New England. One season, they trade him to LA. Balled out 1,204 yards. And then they shipped him to Houston. 2 back-to-back 1,000 yards. Like, he produces.
He might as well. He's literally the LeGarrette Blunt of receivers. If I were him, I'd just take max money and do one-year deals everywhere.
But the difference is LeGarrette Blunt won championships. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah.
So, one more game that we're going to talk about. The Bears and the Packers. This is supposed to be one of the closest matchups of the week. Justin Fields versus Jordan Love. Now that the owner of the Chicago Bears is in East Rutherford, New Jersey, you know the reference there. What do we see? What do we see as being the key to this game? Because Justin Fields has better weapons than he's had in the past.
Massive improvement.
Yeah. Huge.
And Jordan Love looks like he could be the guy to take them forwards.
True.
Yeah, Jordan Love, I think right now is this is a case of like a QB that got drafted relatively high and has literally been able to sit with no real pressure. So he's been able to like fully adjust to the speed of the game, the terminology, everything. So he's ready to go. And I actually want him to do well because it's adding another good level young quarterback into that mix. You know, the whole league has changed. You know
Especially
what I mean?
the NFC side.
Yeah, so it'll be really good to see. Now, what he can do with that roster, though, we've got to wait and see. You know, I think he still has those two running backs. Aaron Jones, is it? Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon are still there. You've got the wide receivers, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. They've got Jaden Reed.
Yeah. So
he's tight end Luke Musgrave as well.
Yeah. So there is like that's not necessarily like a noteworthy running back wise. They're set. They're nice. But as far as like receiving weapons, we've seen some flashes, but what we want to see is that next
were rookies, weren't they? Christian Watson,
they were rookies.
So
yeah, but they showed flashes, so it's going to be interesting to see how they develop with a younger QB that's probably not going to be riding them as hard as Aaron would. You know what I mean?
But
you can
I think
look each other eye to eye.
But I think because he's a quarterback that's considered as ready. Because he's had that long now to sit there and wait.
Yeah, and learn the game.
I think this is the typical MO of Green Bay in terms of like.
I think this one was more luck than this one was a little bit more luck than the whole Aaron Rodgers kind of like timing situation that they had when they brought on Aaron.
Yeah, it is, but it also is Packers history. Think about it. Going all the way to Brett Favre, they tend to bring in young quarterbacks with potential, and they're prepared to sit them for 1 to 3 seasons to develop them, really develop them, work on them behind the scenes. Same with Brett Favre. Brett Favre came to Green Bay, sat for a bit, developed a bit, and then they let him go and unleashed him. And Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3 seasons before they unleashed him. Jordan Love's done the same thing. There's the MO of Green Bay. And to me, if I'm a young quarterback and I'm coming to the league, I would love to be drafted by Green Bay Packers because despite all the pressure, they'll let you sit for about 2 to 3 years, get the grooming you need to be able to come and play. And I think towards the end of the season, when Jordan Love played, you could see there's a certain maturity in his game in terms of learning the nuances of being a quarterback. And if it works out for them, then they'll produce another good elite young quarterback. Depends on how the season goes. But I think looking at the lack of weapons, I think when you look at it, typically they're going to develop these young guys, but Green Bay is going to run the football a lot this year. They're going to be, they're going to pound the football, play action passes. There are also going to be some games whereby they'll try and pass more to develop Jordan Love and the receivers, but the bread and butter is going to be through.
I think that to be honest, the bread and butter last year was it was running the ball. Packers have been running the ball for a little bit.
Run the ball and play action,
But
this time they can run it without no pushback because remember there was a bit of conflict between LaFleur and Rodgers in terms of like they wanted to run the ball first and Rodgers still wanted to pass the ball as a veteran quarterback. So now they get to be able to really call the offense like how they want to call it. On the flip side to the Bears, this is seen as sort of like the come
You
out
look
and
at the
show us
yeah. So
Justin Fields. Yeah,
he's got Khalil Herbert as the running back one. DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool as his wide receivers. He's finally got 3 wide receivers to actually pass to.
Yeah.
and that tight end is also very good. Cookie,
I
that's
think
actually a very good
I
tight
have
end.
rated Cole Kmet extremely highly when it comes to. I've just realised guess who's second on their on the depth chart
in terms of wide
at tight
receivers.
end. At tight end,
Oh, what, tight end?
Ooh! Touchdown,
Mercedes
Tonyan.
Lewis. Yeah.
Robert Tonyan.
Robert Tonyan. Yeah.
Where was he for his rookie
Wait, hold
deal?
on a second. That's surprising because the way Rodgers loves Mercedes Lewis, I'm surprised he didn't end up a Jet.
But they don't
Aaron
need him.
Rodgers have a very
They didn't
big
need him.
bromance with
They have
Mercedes Lewis.
Conklin and CJ Uzama, so they don't need him.
Yeah, I know that, but Rodgers always vouched for Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah,
he always
but
makes
it's just
Packers brought him back.
so. Cole Kmet, I've rated highly. Justin Fields, this is the season for him to show it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, to be
agree.
honest.
I think this is the season that. Sorry to carry off. Well,
Yeah.
the passing numbers. This is the season we'll go see the passing game.
Yeah.
We know he can run it. We know he's great. Had over 1,000 yards rushing last year, which it wasn't talked about enough because of the Bears' record.
Can he dispel the notion that OSU quarterbacks cannot make it in the league?
I think he's already
I think he will.
overachieved as far as Ohio State QBs in the league right now, like as far as what he's been able to achieve. But like I said, we just want to see him develop as a passer. You know, he has those weapons now. If you look at those wide receivers, Equinemius St. Brown was your number 2.
And you look at have you looked at some
He's
of the
not
players in the
even
defense,
in the-
right?
Yeah.
They've got
And
Ngakwe, they've got Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their defense is not bad either. You know, they've got Eddie Jack, and I think we're gonna see a resurgence of Eddie Jackson. He has been one of my favorite safeties in the league. He had a bit of a down year last year because the best defense didn't have good enough guys in the front seven. They've boosted the front seven now. So
Also,
Eddie
they
Jackson
didn't
should come.
have an offense that could stay on the field long enough as well.
Yeah.
That's
They
true.
were constantly out there.
I think this season Eddie Jackson is primed to ball because there was one year whereby he had, 6 interceptions, and I think even last year he had 4 interceptions. I think he's going to have more picks than last year because of that front seven. He's a ball hawk.
But yeah, no, it's going to be exciting to see, man. I can't wait. Like I said, Equinemius St. Brown was your number 2. He's not even in the top 4 or 5 receiving core right now. So that's a massive upgrade for him. And I'm hoping we can all finally see the whole unit come together and see how good DJ Moore is. We're still waiting.
We are still waiting to see the top level of DJ Moore. All right. So there's a little chit chat about certain matchups that we all wanted to kind of like talk about with regards to this week. Now, seasonal predictions. I'm going to go through each division, say where we think each team's going to be within the division. We're just going to rattle it off.
Okay.
Division by division, and then we just have a little bit of chat with regards to it and see why our reasoning behind it. So I'm going to go with the tricky division first. NFC South.
NFC South, yeah. Cool.
The NFC South. So the Saints, the Bucks,
yeah,
the Panthers,
Tampa Bay, Falcons as well,
and the Falcons. Like, who's going to win this? Please tell me.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, I don't think the Falcons are only because of their signal caller. I mean, they might get an upset, but I don't really think they're going to be finishing in the top 2. I've just got to look at rosters here, like all round.
I think there's only one roster that can win this division.
I think. Well, my guess is the Saints.
Yeah.
And the reason I'll say this is they are the only team that have got a quarterback that will be able to get them to the playoffs straight away without any like the same level of teething problems. You look at so they don't have Kamara for a few games, so that is one thing.
Yep.
But they do have Jamal Williams, who's capable, very capable as a running back.
Very capable.
They've got Olave, and they've finally got back a wide receiver who's been injured for a very long time, Michael Thomas.
Yeah, and they got him because they got Derek Carr. Otherwise, he wasn't coming back.
He wasn't going to stay. Yeah, he wasn't going to stay. But
they've got a competent quarterback. They've got pieces, and Saints' defense has always played good.
Yeah, they find a way.
I see them coming top of the division. That is certain. That is set in stone. Okay. I see the Falcons coming last in the division.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see what Bryce is able to do.
So I say
as a rookie.
And I'm going to say Bryce is going to come. It's difficult between Bryce and
Rattle list it.
Rattle it off. Bryce is coming third in the division, and I say Baker comes second because he's got pieces. That's the one thing he has. He has pieces available to us.
Some assets there, yeah.
So that's why I say he's going to come second. But only one team is making the playoffs from this division, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I agree with you. I'll go with Saints. I actually have the Falcons coming second because I think they're going to surprise a few people. The reason why I have the Falcons coming second is because I believe in Bijan Robinson. Rookie running backs typically have excellent rookie seasons. I think they've got good offensive line. Their offensive line is very underrated. They've got very good guards, especially in the run game. They were actually one of the top offensive lines.
So you see them being able to do a lot of inside zone runs quite well.
Yeah. Like last year, the offensive line, especially the interior, was ranked as one of the best in the league, and they maintained them over the course of contract extensions and stuff like that. I have the Panthers coming third because I think Bryce is going to have a good rookie season and have them respectable, and have the Tampa Bay last because I don't believe in Baker anymore. I think Baker will be good, but at the same time,
fool me twice, kind of that kind of situation.
Yeah. He's had a lot of chances.
I think that's it.
All right, well, predictions for the division.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Saints to win. And yeah, Tampa Bay to come second.
And who's going to be the bottom ringer? Who's going to be 3 and 4?
I just want to see what Bryce can do. It's a tall order for him, but yeah, I'm gonna have to sort of listen to what Pete said. Like, they can lean on Bijan, they can run the ball, they can play safe football, minimize the errors, and hopefully they can kind of at least try and stay afloat. So I'm gonna go with Atlanta third and Carolina to finish last. But who knows? I think that third and fourth is interchangeable, though.
This division is quite open as far as I'm concerned, and it's going to be interesting. Maybe not in the best of ways at times, because last year we even thought that there was a chance that there was going to be a losing record winning this division. I think the winning record will win this division this year, because I think that's just due to how it's going to be. But all right, AFC South. We're going to go south, east, west, north. So, AFC South. Can anybody topple Trevor this time around?
Oh.
I don't think the Titans
as a biased
are gonna...
Colts fan,
yeah.
I'm going to say the London Jags are going to win this season. The division this season. Not the season overall.
Okay.
I think it's hard to see a team topping them, but that being said, I think amongst the 3 that are left, you know, I actually think your Colts are going to surprise a few people, only because of your dynamic signal caller. he's probably going to have a few plays where, just like Justin Fields, where he's going to sneak a win here and
All
there,
right,
and that's going to help keep
what
you.
I'll say, and what this is me sounding like a negative Nancy, right? What I'll say to counteract that, Justin Fields had those plays, but they still lost games.
But you've got a
But
better defense.
the difference is, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a better defense, and don't be surprised, Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, he's on pup, but once he sees the team is doing well, he's going to want to be a part of that sooner rather than later, and he wants to
and
get himself
also-
in there.
So we've got
And also, I
Chat
think
Leonard's
your
gonna be
head coach.
fit. Yeah.
Yep, your head coach is. I find he's a more dynamic play caller than the best offensive coordinator. I would say.
It's going to be interesting to see what Steichen does.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, okay. So, what he was able to do with Jalen Hurts, he could tailor that to Richardson, who has a similar skill set with a stronger arm.
Stronger arm.
And Jalen Hurts' arm was considered to be quite strong, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had a strong arm, but he lacked accuracy.
But Richardson's arm is stronger.
It's just ridiculous.
A ball whip off his hand.
Now, the important thing for the Indianapolis Colts this year is Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith need to play to their contract worth.
Yep.
They will.
They need to play well, because even Big Q said he was not happy with how he played last season.
Yeah, I think he'll come good, because great players don't fall off too like that, and especially with him having that awareness to know he didn't play well, which means that he's gonna be motivated coming into this season. I mean, the pancakes are about to come back. It's about to start pancaking
Nom. Pancake monster.
When an offensive lineman said they didn't play well last season, you know they're coming with something.
You kind of everyone knew it. He wasn't like. There's been a regression. There's been a negative regression in how that whole offensive line is played. You need to protect Richardson. You need to be, and the thing is, the blueprint is there from the Eagles. And you have a good offensive line that allows time for the Eagles, for Jalen Hurts to do his thing. If you allow Anthony Richardson to do his thing, it's only going to help.
Good things happen. The blueprint's there. And Steichen knows what it looks like, and he knows what you need to do to make it happen. So I have no doubt that's been a huge part in the whole process for the team.
For the FC South, I'll go Jaguars, Colts, Titans, and Texans. That's what I'll go with. I think your Colts will surprise in terms of what they can do, because one thing about rookie quarterbacks, especially dynamic rookie quarterbacks, is that they tend to have a successful rookie year when teams are not prepared. They've seen it plenty of other quarterbacks, but somehow the running game is something that teams never really get a read on that. Like when they run the read option and stuff. Because think too. Okay, so Kyler's rookie year, when we did all that read option stuff, our offensive line wasn't great as the Colts offensive line, right? But when you go back to rookie running rookie quarterbacks like RG3, when he had a great season back with the Washington, he had a good offensive line. They knew how to play to his strengths. They protected him until he didn't know how to slide and got injured.
Okay, question. Are we discounting the Titans even though they're annoying every season because they run the ball so damn much?
I'm not good. Well, okay, so when I say your Colts will come second, it's going to be a tie between the Colts and the Titans.
No, are we discounting for the Titans for the division themselves? Because Derrick Henry is still going to be very good. D-Hop, and you know what D-Hop's like. He's very good, and Treylon Burks.
We'll find a way to play with any QB.
Yeah,
so
that's true. But the reason why, the reason why I kind of like want to go with the Jags is because I think they're on an upward trajectory, and I think typically Doug Peterson does very well in his second year. With the Eagles in the second year, they really improved massively from the first year, and I think the Jaguars are primed to
Also,
sort of repeat
I would
emphatically as division
in
champs.
my opinion, I prefer the Jags wide receiver core to the Titans one. You've got Kirk,
I mean, they've
got
got some
Ridley,
weapons.
you've got Zay Jones, and you've got Evan Engram, who they actually managed to get working for them.
Mm.
And Ridley is going to come back with a vengeance after all that happened to him last year.
Travis Etienne. And Travis Etienne is so dynamic.
Yeah.
And they added another running back in Tank Bigsby as well.
So I'll go with that, and then I'll have the Texans are coming fourth and giving us the first overall pick or the second.
Yeah, Jacksonville. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville Colts, and then I'm gonna go Titans in Houston.
I am gonna be a negative Nancy. I'm gonna go Jags, Titans, Colts, and then the Texans to bring up the rear. And I think a part of it is I am reducing my expectations to the point that if we're good, I get to be happy.
I get your logic.
And if we're bad, I expected us to be bad. So it's interesting because the Colts were supposed to be last year was supposed to be a team that was ready to kind of do everything and stunk it up. So are we expecting the same? But the thing is, we've hit more of a reset this time around. Okay, NFC East. Well,
yeah, no,
I'm going to ask you to say first.
Not biased here, but my Eagles are expected to be really strong here. But after that, it's going to be interesting. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I think Dallas are probably second. Only because there's too many unknowns right now with regards to how the Commanders are going to play, as well as the Giants.
That's the fun one with regards to this division. We don't know how the Commanders are going to be.
Yeah, we don't know. So they've got like a new offensive coordinator. Yep.
Completely to like away from the on the field stuff. They've got a new owner.
Yeah.
There's a new vibe amongst the crowd.
There's a new vibe.
The fans.
Optimism.
That could bring that. Sometimes when the vibe around the entire place changes, the entire place changes, and you see it go towards betterment.
Yep, not just that, but they've got a new head coach. Bieniemy over there, like he has a lot to prove, and I think he's not going to hold his punches. Sam Howell's almost like the wonder kid that everyone's keeping a secret. I mean, I'm not putting him in the same vein. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's nowhere near. I'm not comparing the two, but this seems very similar to before Pat had I think he finished off the last few games of the 49ers.
To be correct, right?
People were like, yeah, they were expecting him to be good. And it's that kind of vibe where everyone in the organization is sort of being like, wait until you see this kid. Wait until you see this kid. And they all seem really confident.
Okay, so
even Ron Rivera was taking shots because everyone was having a go at him when he said, I didn't know this guy was this good. Okay,
you need to understand something here.
Yeah.
The hype around Patrick Mahomes was like, the Chiefs' defense hated practicing against Mahomes in his rookie year because he kept scoring on them in practice.
In practice.
Okay, so they knew the minute we unleashed this kid, they ain't ready because when you do, the hype was different. Like that year, the Chiefs' defense, they came to games very prepared because they just faced a quarterback who just kept beating them in practice.
Yeah.
So, it was one of them ones, but I mean, I'll go with your Eagles because I think you're probably the best team in the NFC as a whole right now, the best roster right now.
I'm saying the Eagles are going to win the division again.
Yeah.
As far as it's really tricky between the next.
It's a hard one. Yeah, it's a hard
really
one.
tricky.
I mean, I'll go Eagles.
Dallas can stink.
For me, I'll go Eagles. I'll go Cowboys in second place because I think the receiving core and also the individual
side
pieces.
And they've got defensive side where they're Bullhawks, right?
I think Micah can go another level this year.
Yeah.
And provide and put in key performances. Because going into the third season, I'm looking for Micah to produce
What
formula type performances. Like when they take over a game and
like TJ Watt
cause
style.
fumbles and like take over a game and get some wins for your team, 1 or 2 wins by yourself because you decided that okay, I'm going to take this game over right now because I expect to see that for Micah Parsons. That'll keep the Dallas Cowboys afloat. And then I put the Giants in third place only because I need Danny Dimes prove to me he's not a fraud. You get 20. If he gets 28 touchdowns, I'll be like, okay, you legit somehow. And then Washington's because I don't know about Howell. He has to surprise me because hey, I hope he balls out because he's a guy right now.
See, I believe in Brian Daboll. Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
So I'm going to make a little bit of a bold one here. It's going to be Eagles 1, Giants 2.
Yep.
Okay.
3, I'm changing my thinking literally as I'm talking. It's going to be the Commanders. I'm going to say Cowboys come last.
Now that would be a happy day.
This is a bold prediction.
For the whole of the NFL.
This is a bold prediction because...
Not as bold, but I see you.
Do you know why? Do you know why I see this? And do you know why I see this? It's because that unknown about Sam Howell. He could be if he turns out to be really good with a rejuvenated franchise, and the Giants have been in the right trajectory in the first place. Dak's got injured in the past. He's had a freak injury.
He's had freak turnovers as well.
Look. I can't see it. You trying to manifest a Trey Lance potential. I can see that. I can see right through it. You wanna throw
if Dallas are last in this division, and let's say we get to week 10, 11, and they're dead last in the division, Trey's playing.
Well, we'll see.
Trey's playing.
All right. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave the.
Who's your third and fourth choice? Because you didn't kind of mention it.
So I'm gonna go with New York and then Washington.
Okay. All right.
Only because I just, like I said, need to wait to see Sam Howell.
For you, you need to see it happening. Whereas I'm getting on board on the hype to finish third. The vibes to finish third, not even get any higher than that in the. All right, AFC East. Are the Bills going to be knocked off the top? Are the Pats going to get back to their dominance? Is Aaron Rodgers going to waltz? Is Aaron Rodgers going to waltz back in there, waltz over there, and win the division outright? Was Tua with the 2 speed demons going to win it? This is a fun one.
No, it is. One thing I'll say is I don't see the Pats. I don't see the Pats winning. They're of course not going to win, but I don't see them coming in at third. I'm gonna actually just put them right at the bottom.
You're putting them at the bottom
right now, Right. Only because I've seen for the past few seasons, I've seen experiments. I've seen poor evaluation of talent.
I know why. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna cut you off. Sorry. Miami Dolphins are gonna come bottom of the division, and there's only one reason behind it.
I agree with you.
Why? Okay, what is your reason, Peter? Because I'm going to ask you your reason, and then I'm going to give my reason.
Okay, my reason is this. I think Tua's going to be found out a little bit that he hasn't got how'd you put it? The arm strength, because
I'm not even saying that. I see there being. I've got this horrible feeling that Tua's going to have a problem.
What, injury problem or problem?
Injury problem. I think he's going to have an injury problem. The amount of concussions that he had last season, that was scary. As far as I'm concerned, there's no way he should have been on that field again. Rugby players get shut down.
Yep.
He didn't.
I think
well, let's see.
Miami are going to be really careful going into this season, so they probably rewired the offense as far as progressions, like how long each play takes. Like at this level, they need to keep him upright. So no doubt that they're making sure he's not going to be holding onto that ball long, and they're also going to make sure
but they need to hold on to the ball to allow
those guys to get down the field. Yeah.
But
so
the thing is, you don't have to. You can just get the ball in their hands and let them get the rack yards.
Yeah,
exactly. Because that's because that's what I'm thinking. That's what they're gonna do this season. I think the offense is gonna evolve more into yak yards with those fast guys on the outside. Because though Tyreek Hill and Waddle, they're probably top 5 or top 2 fastest receivers in the league, so they're gonna do that. But my only concern is this: eventually, at some point, team defensive coordinators are very smart in this league, and they're gonna come up with a scheme to try and listen. If we know you're only throwing 5 to 10 yard passes, try and get these guys get yaks, then the emphasis will be on we're gonna condense the field and force you to throw deep if you can throw deep. And to throw deep, you need time. And the offensive line right now, just look at the depth chart, is not the strongest within the division. And that division has got some dogs that can come get your quarterback. So that's where your concerns of the concussions could come in. But I just think that Tua would not perform at his best because he doesn't have the deep arm strength to get the ball down the field.
So, if Tua's healthy, they're finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
Tua's unhealthy,
I'll put them 4th.
Yeah.
Because one thing people underestimate the Patriots is Bill O'Brien is back. Bill O'Brien was Mac Jones's.
I just don't believe in Mac Jones.
OC. No, but hold on a second though, because here's the thing that people need to understand. Mac Jones had he had a good rookie year though.
He had a good rookie year. He had a solid year. I think.
How many touchdowns he had in his rookie year? Like, if you think about it, his rookie year he had.
I just look at that.
22 touchdowns, 39 INTs, right? So that's an okay year. But in his second year, he was gonna take the progression, but Bill decided, I'll give you
a defensive coordinator.
Pencil.
All right, okay.
I'll give you the pencil guy.
Okay,
that ain't gonna work.
Do you know why I'm saying this about the Pats, right? They say that there's potential like injury. Like Juju doesn't look like he can survive injury wise all the time. You've got Devontae Parker. Not exactly a wide receiver one, I suppose. You've got Kendrick Bourne. Hunter Henry.
He hasn't delivered.
All
10 years he's been there.
You've got Gesicki, who's a possession, tight end. So you've got another guy who's he's a lot better than what they had last season. But you've got to do something.
Yeah, no, I mean, this brings me back to my point.
Pieces.
This brings me back to my point in that it's not necessarily the ability of them to scheme up a defense and offense to win games. It's just they're devoid of talent. And that's the hard truth. They can't evaluate players. They struggle to sort of develop them as well on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to have to run the ball. But then again,
Ramondre and Zeke.
To win this division, you're going to have to be able to pass it. How are you going to stay in games with these signal callers?
You guys need to understand, right? Okay, so the Patriots under Belichick historically, they haven't really had, market
but they had Tom Brady
until Gronk. Hold on a second, let me finish. Yes, they had Tom Brady, but even he had to develop to get there. He wasn't there right from the off. So you get what I'm saying? So historically, they developed their quarterbacks to get there eventually. But the one thing about Bill Belichick is now they have a competent offensive coordinator, which is Brian. Is it Bill O'Brien? Who's back with the Patriots, calling the plays on the offensive side of the football. Yeah. Now with Bill O'Brien back calling the plays, I believe they can craft enough of offense, because when he left the Patriots with the Texans, he was actually a very good head coach and play caller until he decided to mess with the personnel, right? But Bill O'Brien is a very good offensive coordinator. He can scheme up plays, can develop Mac Jones to the extent whereby they can play enough to win. Like if we look at most of their games yesterday, last season, is because Patricia didn't know what he was doing. When you have an offensive coordinator within the identity, they can scheme enough to win enough games.
But okay, so we're arguing
for me, the Patriots, I put them third with a surprise chance of coming second. I'll be surprised if they come second in the division. I will not be.
That's it. Is that your bias towards Belichick and hatred towards he who shall not be named coming through?
No, but I call it when everyone does Bill, that's when that's his greatest work. Just put it that way.
All right. Who's winning it?
Bold. I'll go.
I'm gonna go Bills. Yeah, man, it's a hard one. I'm gonna go Bills. Yeah, so Bills, Jets, Miami, Pats.
I'm gonna go with the Jets because I'm gonna try. I'm trusting discount double check.
They were a QB away. They were a QB away, and, literally. That's why they went to get him.
And I would love Robert Saleh to do it, but yeah, I said Bills, then Dolphins. As far Bills, then Jets as the top two. All right. NFC North. Vikings, Packers, Bears, and the Detroit Lions. It's an intriguing one because teams are in flux in this division. The incumbents. Can anybody topple the Vikings? I don't think so.
I mean, the favorite is third cousins or first cousins or fourth cousins when you want to be. But you know what? It's time. Do you know
why I don't think he can be toppled?
Why?
Because he's so steady.
Because
he's so steady, all he needs to do is get the ball to Jetters.
Okay, I get that, but when I look at the Lions, right, and if you didn't get my clue earlier, when I said we're buying kneecaps this year and we're biting deep this year, because I'm pulling for my man Campbell, we're gonna buy it this year. We're taking flesh with the bite. We're not just buying.
Our friend Finn is going to be really enjoying your prediction. So you're saying the Lions are going to win this division this year? Are you saying that?
Yes, I think this year I'm finally gonna give credit to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's the wide receiver one. He's gonna really do well. Okay, so this year I think they're gonna do it. Jamal Gibbs is gonna be a good addition to their offense. I think there's gonna be a step up with Aiden Hutchinson. He had a solid rookie year.
Yeah, he did.
There's gonna be a step up with him. That linebacker they took, Jack Campbell, is gonna be a very good linebacker for them. They've got defense and they're gonna come to play to win. The offensive line is also very underrated. Penei Sewell actually had a good year last year. Towards the end of the year, he raised his game up and he's up there now. They have a big offensive line. So I think this year the Lions are gonna do it. I think they're gonna win the division. And it starts with
Jameer Gibbs. I think so Jameson Williams is suspended. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
For how many games?
Yeah, that's important, Pete, because Amon-Ra, like I said, if they double him, he hasn't got the frame.
6 game ban.
Yeah, that's going to be huge because
but here's the thing, though. Okay, so here's the thing. 6 game ban. So the first 6 games, I could easily see the Lions going 4-2 in the first 6 games. Right, because they've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, they've got Marvin Jones, who's a good wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver too.
Josh Reynolds, right? And Josh Reynolds was serviceable, and he has that relationship with Jared Goff that he took over from the Rams as well. So he had that working for him last year.
So I think they'll be in a position that when Jameson comes back, they'll be ready to take off because then he will give them someone that has a potential to be a Justin Jefferson type. I'm not saying it's Justin Jefferson right now, but he has the potential to be. And I think when he comes back, and particularly if they're playing from the slot, because let's all realize that Justin JJ started from the slot, then he moved to the outside, and he dominated from then on. So they have the potential there when Jameson comes back. As long as they have a very good record, even if they're top 500, by the time Jameson comes back, they have the potential to win the division.
The reason why I say this is KJ Osborne stepped up, right? Because Thielen started to go. Jefferson, top level player. Mattison generally had good games when Dalvin was still there, so I see that him being extremely serviceable. Kirk Cousins, I don't think he needs to be flashy, and the defensive side from the Vikings is they've got players, right? They've got Harrison Smith, they've got Byron Murphy, Marcus Davenport, Hicks, Daniil Hunter. Running Daniil Hunter stays fit. They've got players.
They do, but I think it's time for the Lions now. They've been building for some time, and they're approaching that cusp.
Yeah,
and I think
they just about missed the playoffs last year, so they need them. Yeah. I think. So my prediction for this year is going to be Vikings are just going to keep it this year, and it's going to be the Lions. Lions will make the playoffs. So I'm saying the Lions are making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can see two teams coming out from that division.
And then it's a battle between the Packers and the Bears for last place.
Yeah,
for me, I'll put the Bears and the Packers in fourth place only because I think Jordan Love will be steady. This is his first year of starting, but I think Fields will be better because he's got the better weapons, and I think he's poised to sort of raise his game to the next level. But particularly, I think it will hinge on how the Bears plays the Packers in the two games in division. If Fields can win at both Lambeau and Soldier Field, there's a good chance they'll finish above the Packers.
All right, I'm gonna say Bears third, Packers last. Even though I was picking up, it's just based upon how I see the matchups, particularly within the division going as well, because that has a massive impact. Being 6 of the 17 games. All right.
Well, what are your picks?
What are your picks?
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings, Detroit, and then I'm gonna go with Chicago and Packers. Only because I think Justin Fields just has the experience. Jordan Love, this is his first year as the full-time starter, just like Pete said. And it's okay playing a few games here and there, but when you go through the attrition of a whole season, he's going to have to work through it and navigate through it. Justin Fields has offensive weapons now, and he's got more runs in his belt, so he can kind of understand how he needs to sort of play throughout the whole season. You don't want to start off you want to start off great, but you can kind of navigate through a little bit better. So yeah.
All right. AFC North. I think this is a fun one this year. Providing that the Baltimore injuries do not take over, this could be a very fun division. TJ Watt stays fit. The next progression in Kenny Pickett, because we expect him to become better.
Absolutely, than last year. I think, and I think one of the things that I read in the off season that he did, and I'm very impressed with, is the fact that he did a lot of film study in this off season of his performance, to see that he watched all the throws that he missed, all the incompletions, went into the finding out why he missed certain throws, why he threw certain interceptions, sort of critical analysis of himself in the off season, and you can see it in the preseason that he's taken a tremendous leap in terms of his play on the field and his ability. So the jury's still out there. Certainly, he has on the defensive side of the ball. One of the combinations I'm looking forward to seeing is his continued chemistry that he's developed with George Pickens. Everybody needs to understand that Pickens is coming. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 5 receiver by the end of the season. That's a huge shout to get into the top 5. But Pickens is very, very talented.
And I think Najee Harris has got to. He's got to
step up now. He's got to step up his performances as well. But saying that, I'm gonna go Baltimore to win the division, pending the injuries don't happen again. Because I think this
So
season,
you're saying they beat
Cincinnati.
yep,
the Bengals?
yep, they're gonna beat this, and that's because Lamar Jackson, Black Jesus, excuse the pun, is about to show people he's got his money. He's about to show and remind y'all that I'm still here. Y'all have forgotten about me, but I'm about to remind the league
Unanimous
that I'm still
MVP.
here.
Yeah.
So, who
I
am
think he's
I
gonna
gonna-
remind the league that he's still here.
All right, I am gonna say it's a tricky one. Let me look at that depth chart of the Ravens this year, because they've added pieces. Zay
Flowers, yeah. That's one of my picks for offensive rookie as well. I've been hearing nothing
the
but good things
receiving
from
call
camp.
right now is good.
OBJ
Pending no
providing
injury,
providing he
he
stays
has a good receiving
fit,
call.
Rashad Bateman, and you know they're gonna run the ball well.
Yep, and Odell's motivated
Yep.
coming into this season because despite everything that's happened, I think
And you
we're
look
gonna
at
get a
that.
very
You look at that
motivated Odell
defense,
Beckham
right?
Jr.
Look at that defense.
Yeah.
You've got
This is
Owe, Roquan, Patrick Queen,
Yep,
Ojabo.
yep. Mm-hmm.
they're kind of
You got
stacked, aren't they?
Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start.
And everyone's healthy right now, right? From what we can
everyone's
Generally,
see.
healthy right
everyone.
now.
All the backs are healthy.
Trayvon Mullen is injured at the moment, so he's out.
I mean, but Rocky
On
Hassan
these.
is a solid cornerback, though.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, no, Pete. I'm gonna side with you a little bit here. Yeah,
gonna
no,
say
the
back-
Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens are gonna be like I said, they're very stacked. Looking at what they've have on offense as a whole unit. Remember Mark Andrews as well.
Yeah,
On
providing
top of
Mark
all those
Andrews doesn't
units.
get yeah, like I said, providing
Yeah,
Mark
so
Andrews doesn't get injured.
yeah, so they have a lot.
Okay, I am gonna Bengals to win, Ravens to come second. They're gonna get into the playoffs.
Mhm.
Steelers gonna finish above 500 because that's what happens with regards to Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
And the Cleveland Browns are going to go back to their position of finishing last because I think Deshaun Watson's going to stink it.
Okay, so
think he's gonna
here's my
stink.
thing.
I think
I've
he's
got a
somehow
slight
going to
take on the
stink.
Browns.
Even though I believe that he's a top level, I think there's just been so much distraction with regards to him, and they run the ball a lot, so he's not going to be throwing the ball enough for him to show that he's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been like what for him? He had a year and a half out of football as far as playing. So I mean, it's not exactly Trey Lance as far as hasn't had the downs, but one thing I'll say is that at this point for Cleveland, if they need to win games, I'm not saying
he's been paid. He's been paid.
He's been paid a lot,
so
so it needs to pay dividends now. Of course, like the first year, with him actually playing, that was a bit of a write-off because everyone knew he was going to have a lot of rust. But he needs to pay dividends right now, so that's going to be if he can't, then they will finish last.
Yeah.
Well, I think even if Deshaun plays well,
he's not finishing in the top two, right?
Yeah, he's still going to finish
not
third.
The top two. I think outside chance probably finish above the Steelers, but I think there's a good chance that in this division, even the Browns finishing in last place, they could have like an 8-9 record, which is basically.
I'm not going to say that. When I say he's going to stink it relative to the division.
Yeah, relative to the division. Yeah. But I don't think he's gonna stink in a way whereby they'll have a massive.
No,
for me, my record. Go
won't
ahead.
Have a record like your lot.
No, not like my guys. But I could see them sort of like 8-9 or 8-1 because ties so happens in the NFL. So something along those lines. Or even if they have a winning record, it'll be at like a 9-8 and still not make the playoffs type of thing. But that 9-8 is not gonna count because Mike Tomlin and the Steelers will probably get a 9-8 or 10-7. Like it depends on how the other divisions in the AFC shakes out. Because I could easily see the Ravens, Bengals, and the Steelers making the playoffs. Because now it's possible to have three.
If TJ Watt is
make
fit
it.
for the entire season, they're getting 10 wins.
And
He's
that's
worth
and
at
that's my chance of making the
least 2
playoffs.
wins for that. He's worth at least 2 wins.
He's at
for
least
that
2
team.
wins, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how dominant he is. All right, has everyone put in their predictions for that?
Yep.
All right, NFC West. Peter, I'm going to ask you to go first because this
Okay,
is
so
I'm going to preface it. I'm going to preface what is. The 49ers are expected to be the favourites, correct?
Yeah, they're going to win it.
Right. But the 49ers, in terms of a roster, it's been going in the wrong direction overall, right? They've been losing pieces here and there because people have been getting paid, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, they've been losing pieces and stuff, but they're still the strongest roster in the division.
Correct.
The Seahawks has an outside chance of winning the division, but the Seahawks winning the division depends on their game against the 49ers because Brock Purdy is now confirmed as a starter. The skill position for the 49ers is incredible, and they can usually swing
Debo,
games.
CMC, Ayuk, Kittle.
D-Mac, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle.
Elijah
They've got
Mitchell.
the best left tackle in football in Trent Williams.
Yep.
So that gives your quarterback protection. Shanahan always crafts enough running game schemes to help them to be able to, win games because the offense that he operates is predicated on a run. They don't really need a quarterback to do a lot for them to win. And they are one of those teams that they can go on winning streaks just purely based on defense and running the football and the offensive schemes that they run. So I feel like even though they've lost some pieces, but their defense is still formidable. They got Fred Warner, probably the best inside linebacker in the game.
Armstead, Hargrave, Greenlaw, Warner. You got Bufunga there. You got Travis Ward there. They've got enough pieces on that defensive side too, and they've got a player who's out at the moment, Nick Bosa.
Yes, I think is he holding out?
I
don't think it's injury though. I think he's holding out because he wants.
Yeah. It's not an injury.
Yeah, it's a holdout.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get that deal down so that he can start because he doesn't need preseason. They just need to get his deal sorted out so that he can come and play. He's the reigning defensive player of the year, right? Is he not?
Yeah,
because he won defensive player of the year last year, right?
Yep, I believe he did.
Okay, so like I said, he is one. He's a key to the defense. He's like the Aaron Donald for their defense. So when he comes back, their defense is 10 times stronger with Bosa. So like I said, they're gonna win the division. Seahawks will come second with a winning record, and Seahawks will likely make the playoffs because the NFC is a weak conference.
Do you know what? You look at that Rams, like they've got Cup, they've got Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. It's just it doesn't. Now when I look at the
Yep. So now my question, my thing is this: when I look at the LA Rams depth chart for this season, and when you look at it, they got Stafford, veteran quarterback, who'll be able to help them win a couple of games.
But you look at their offensive line.
When he's out, their offense is not as formidable.
It's not at all.
Their offensive line is okay. Defense is all right. They have a better roster than the Cardinals, right? But my prediction is based on this.
They're coming third,
here's
right?
this. They're gonna come. They're gonna finish last in the division. The Cardinals will come third. but not by much. Not by much, but hear me out. So it's like this. I could see the Rams finishing 4-13. And the
So are you
Cardinals
saying
finishing...
McVay gets sacked at the end of the year?
No, he's not getting sacked.
No.
This is all part of the
He's not getting
plan.
sacked. It's part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
They are going to tank for Caleb Williams. Like, everybody thinks the Cardinals would do it. But what I'm saying is, I could easily see the Rams halfway through the season. Let's say they don't have a winning record. Their record is like 2-4. I could easily see them say, okay, Aaron Donald can't go for the next 3 games. He has an injury. He doesn't have an injury. Cooper Cup can't go. Matthew Stafford all of a sudden has sprained his elbow. Like, all of these things will come up just so they get. This is the first time they've got a first-round pick. Remember that. This is the first year after all those years that they have their own first-round pick. They've got a kid in their backyard. USC and LA Rams are very close. Is in the same backyard. He's a potential number 1 overall pick.
Literally.
And this is the perfect time for the Rams to reset. So I'm just saying that they will finish, let's say, 4-13, get number 1 overall pick. Cardinals get a 2nd overall pick or the 3rd overall pick, and they end up getting Caleb Williams. And that's my prediction.
That's
the Cardinals just beat them by 1 game.
I mean,
so that is your prediction.
I'm gonna go with the 49ers, and then Seattle, Arizona, and LA Rams. The 49ers, I think Purdy plays sound football, so he's not really gonna make a lot of mistakes. And they're too good on defense, explosive on offense. It's their division to lose, really. The Seahawks, I think, will play well. I think Geno, everyone now knows the cat's out of the bag. Geno Smith can play. He can definitely hold this team together, and I can see them doing a few things, but it's not going to be enough to sort of... Are they going
to make the playoffs due to just how the NFC is going to be?
Yeah.
I think they will because of the conference.
Yeah. Arizona, I think right now are a bit more serviceable than the Rams, even though the Rams has a slightly better roster. Overall, I think the Cardinals will play better. Remember, Kyler is gonna come back at some point in the season, and then that's obviously and he's not playing to lose. Like, he doesn't want to, like, this tanking business doesn't make sense for him. He's trying to win because he has his brand he's representing out there, and he's not going to put rubbish out there. So I think once he comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays harder than you think, and perhaps maybe keeps things a bit close for that 2nd place. But yeah, Rams are going to be dead last.
All right. My prediction for this one is going to be 49ers at the front. I can't see anybody but the Seahawks being 2nd in the division. And I am going to say Rams 3rd and Pete's team going 4th. Purely because...
Say with me. Come on, let the Rams come 4th so that they can get Caleb Williams.
It's a prediction. I see Stafford getting hurt again.
Oh, then they're getting Caleb Williams if he gets hurt.
I see Stafford getting hurt, but I think I also see Kyler Murray not finishing the season as a Cardinal.
Yeah, no, this is one of those seasons where
that's my
like...
bold prediction. Kyler Murray will not finish the season as a Cardinal.
So you think we'll trade him at the trade deadline somewhat?
That's my bold prediction. I don't say who to, but he is gone.
It's going to be like, with LA, it's going to be one of those things where if they so much as see Stafford in the training room, they'll sit him. Like, if he just wanders in there, they'll be like,
Bennett comes in and actually,
is that your finger?
Well.
Is your finger swollen? Oh man, you can't play this week. Take a week off. Okay, yeah, that's how it's literally going to be.
So here's the thing, yeah. Okay, so I just put out the schedule quickly, right? And here's the Rams' first 5 games before they play Cardinals week 6. At Seattle, 49ers at home, Bengals, Colts, Philadelphia. The first 5 games, how many wins do you see there? Because looking at the rosters. 1. And that's against what? Possibly against your Colts? That's it?
Yep.
Because we'll stink it up against a team that we shouldn't.
Okay. So if they are like 1-5 or 1-4, they're gonna tank because, like,
Yeah, you got a point
I'm
there.
thinking
Yeah.
You
at
do
that
have a
point,
there.
What's the
we might as
point?
well tank for Caleb.
Caleb's
There's no
waiting.
point.
Easy. Let's
Because the
just keep going.
49ers are going to run away with the division as far as you're concerned. All right,
Because
okay.
so even if
I'm
they
not
beat
going to change the
Cardinals,
prediction. I'm not going to change the prediction, but
no,
you've
I'm not
explained
changing
your
the
rationale
prediction.
behind.
I'm just saying
Alright.
the way the schedule falls for them. Then they've got Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay. So by the time they get to their bye week, the schedule is so tough they wouldn't have a lot of wins, I don't think.
Okay, so what's the bookend of the season? What have they got at the end?
So at the end, they're facing Seattle in week 11, Arizona week 12, which they probably it's a 50-50 they'll win, Cleveland, and then Baltimore, Washington, New Orleans, New York. So the last
which
San
New York team?
Francisco.
Giants
So 1,
or
2, 3,
Jets?
4, 5. So week 14 to 18, I don't think they win a single game because those teams will be pushing for playoffs.
Yo, Caleb, he's ready.
From 14 to 18,
Alright.
He already
all
has
those
his Rams
teams will
jersey.
push for playoffs.
You're making some sense here. All right, okay.
They're printing the jerseys now.
Let's move on. AFC West. Mahomes is winning the division. Herbert's not going to win.
Unanimous.
I think that's
Yep.
pretty unanimous. Herbert's got in second. Is that unanimous?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Will Russ come last to Jimmy G?
The fact that
I
we're
don't
actually
see
having
it.
to contemplate, I'm actually contemplating it because, like I said, last year
I'm
was
gonna
such a
say no.
stinker.
I'm going to say no.
I
I'm
agree
gonna
with
say-
you. I'm gonna say no, but actually, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I could see the Broncos here come possibly maybe piping the Chargers because the Chargers have a history of sometimes meddling it up. Sometimes, okay, the Chargers can sometimes fall
Yeah, but
very
that's
hard.
normally in like the playoffs. They did
So,
it last
even
season.
the regular
And
season
They've got-
sometimes.
with Philip
they've
Rivers
got-
as
yeah.
well, that was the Philip Rivers era
Okay.
too.
Yeah,
so
but they've got
okay.
something to
Here-
prove, right?
Hear my madness
After
here.
that loss in the postseason.
Okay, hear my madness here. Okay, what I'm saying is the Broncos could be a surprise second place finish in the AFC West, not because of Russ, but because of Sean Payton. Because Sean Payton coming to the Broncos, right? He's not just coming to fix Russ. That's his main objective.
No, he's
He's
fixing
looking
the
at-
entire team.
He's looking at Pat Mahomes, and he's thinking,
How can I stop him?
I fancy this challenge. If I can win a division, not this season, but let's say next year, or they run the Chiefs close in terms of like the division, he wants that challenge. Like, okay, we can match up with the Chiefs, right? I'm talking about the type of person Sean Payton is. He's an aggressive coach. He likes challenges. He likes facing the big dog in the division. He likes coming up and trying to prove his worth that I'm equally as good of a coach as Andy Reid, and I can build a team to go and compete against the Chiefs. Now, it might not be this year. I don't think they're going to win the division this year, but next year they might. So that's why I'm saying that they might even challenge the Chargers for the second place, and that it won't be through the play of Russell Wilson. It might be through the running game because Sean Payton, people think he's just passing the football. He loves to run the football too, because for Drew Brees, all those passing yards started off with setting the run first. Remember what he did with Alvin Kamara when he had Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush combination, the Thunder and Lightning. It was all the run game, setting up the big passing yards for Drew Brees. So let's not write off the Broncos. They might have something to say. The Chargers are slight favorites, but if we review this halfway through the season, you never know. But I'll put the Chargers because they have the more pedigree.
I'm going to put the Chargers second, I'm going to put Broncos third, and I'm going to put Raiders as bringing up the rate. And last, well, what's your prediction here? The final prediction of the divisions?
Yeah, no, Kansas City to win, Chargers second. It'll be interesting to see what Denver does. I'm going to go with Denver as the as an abstract choice here because I think the Raiders are right there, but like I said, Sean Payton's going to bring something different. This is not the same Denver Broncos. He's literally flipped that whole organization. We're not just talking the field side, we're talking the back office side as well. So he's changed that whole culture over there. It's a different team. So we can't really look at what they've done in the past and say, yeah, that's kind of who they are. No, I think everything's going to be a bit different. So yeah, I'm going to go with Denver. I wouldn't be surprised if they give the Chargers a bit of a run for their money.
Also, another team we haven't considered in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes is the Raiders, because we all know Jimmy G can't get hurt, and you know, there could be another interesting team. You never know.
All right, there we have it. Now, predictions for awards. Let's go with Rookies of the Year first of all. Who do we think is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year? Is Peter going to go with Bijan Robinson? Are we all going to go with Bijan Robinson? Or are we going to pick somebody else? Is a quarterback going to win it? Is a running back going to win it? Is it going to wide receiver?
No, still with your Zay Flowers. You will give Zay Flowers some shouts right now.
Yeah, I was going to say Zay Flowers. He's been turning heads in camp. He's lightning fast. He can catch the ball. He can run all the routes. He can. They are lining him up in the slot, but he can play outside as well. He's got that kind of like that young Antonio Brown kind of aura about him as far as like potential. He's a lot better than an Antonio Brown coming out 100%. So sky's the limit. So yeah, no, I've had Zay Flowers as my Offensive Rookie of the Year for a while now. So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going to have a lot of opportunity as a Lion. Especially with how that division is. I think he's going to be able to get some good yards. Going with a running back, it's not the obvious one. Bijan Robinson is the odds-on favourite.
Yep.
But I think the Lions will be doing better as a team than the Falcons will, and that may have an impact. That's why I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. That's true. I get that, but I'll stay with Bijan because I think, despite the records, I think if he has a spectacular year, if he has 1,005, 1,006 with 10 touchdowns, regardless of the record, you can't deny him because he's proven that he can ball despite the conditions of the team. So, yeah. All
right, Bijan, it is for yourself.
Yep. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna go with this guy that is similar in terms of source, and I think similar length. 6'3", 205 pounds. From the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez. I think he's gonna ball.
He's at the Lions, isn't he?
No, he's with the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez was drafted 17th overall pick this year.
The odds website that I'm looking at is incorrect, so whoever's on that website needs to fact check themselves, because you are saying a New England Patriot. Oh, well, this is your Bill Belichick bias coming through again, isn't it?
No, because this guy was like actually my number one rated cornerback in the draft. Okay. And I liked his film and his tape, and the early preseason games I've watched of him and the Patriots, and he seems like he can stand his own. He doesn't seem like the NFL level is too far level for him, and he's been holding his own right now.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be an Eagle.
Yeah, defensive. I'm ready.
Jalen
passing the baton. Oh, okay. So you're going for Jalen. All right. Well, you can pick your poison, really.
Well, you're going to go with Nolan Smith?
Yeah, I was going with Nolan. Yeah. I was going to be honest, it could be either of those two. Jalen Carter.
You'll pick one.
Yeah, but I'm going with Nolan only because I think as far
sacks me more.
Jalen Carter's an interior.
So okay, but
Nolan is edge. So he's going to get more of those splash moments one-on-one. So he's probably going to get a few more cracks at the whip. But he's also a linebacker. So he's also an outside linebacker as well. So he's going to be doing different things. We're talking tackles, rushing the passer. But
well, I get that. But you need to understand something. If Jalen Carter and who's the one that you picked last year? Jordan Phillips?
Jordan Davis.
You mean the Jordan Bulldogs defense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if those two guys are doing their jobs congesting the inside, and your edge rushers are doing their job, I think most of your sacks are going to go to Hassan Reddick. He has a chance to really take his sack numbers up a notch with the addition of those two guys to your interior. Remember, he had 16 sacks last year. He led the league in forced fumbles. So Hassan Reddick probably has potential to like really go off this upcoming year. I get your take of Nolan Smith as well. I think he has the
as a rookie.
But it depends if are you guys gonna play him enough though? That's the thing, because last year you didn't play Jordan Davis enough.
Yeah, Jordan Davis, I think we didn't necessarily need him in that rotation, but because right now he's
But
taking
you
over
don't
the
necessarily
mantle.
need Nolan Smith in the rotation though. Your edges are good. You got Hassan Reddick and who's the other guy on the other edge?
Josh Sweat. Yeah, Josh Sweat.
That's why,
I mean,
because he's not the front of the rotation. That's why he may find it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jalen's going to be playing though. Jalen Carter is
yeah.
definitely going to be playing.
Yeah, that's the
He's
thing.
violent on that inside. It's kind of like how Jordan Davis was like a plug, so he would just suck up space, like Haloti Nada used to do, or did, where he'd absorb everything. Carter though is the person that will be getting the sacks from the interior of the line.
Yeah, because he's got the more pass rush upside.
He's got so he's going to be the guy that's going to be getting the sacks. Nolan is definitely an edge rusher. He's more of like a Von Miller style, not a pure linebacker. So he's not really going to be dropping
in between,
back.
Between the two.
He's like in between, but we're going to have him on the field to rush. So I'm hoping, like I said,
because I'm looking at your depth chart right now, and Nolan is the second string to Hassan Reddick. So he kind of plays another position, and the vet always going to get most of the play.
Yeah. But Jordan, Nolan can rush better than Hassan, though. Naturally rush better than Hassan.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Practice footage I'm seeing, they're basically just waiting for him to get his shot.
I mean, Nolan is bigger, but Hassan's undersized.
Hassan's savvy. He's savvy, so he's got the experience.
He knows. He's a very good player in his own. All right. Offensive Player of the Year. Is it just a straight up battle between Chase and Jefferson for this, or do you see somebody else getting into the mix?
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
No, Offensive Player of the Year.
Overall offensive player, man.
Player of the year.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson reproduced what he did.
I mean, he won it last year.
Yeah, do you think he does a repeat, or do you think Jamar Chase gets in?
It's hard to repeat.
Does it?
It's hard to repeat
because this thing has changed over the years. Like, you've had multiple winners over the years. I think the last guy to do it 3 times in a row was Marshall Falk.
All right.
It's very hard to repeat.
Is it going to be a running back? Is it going to be... Is it Garrett Wilson going to be... Is he going to go from Rookie of the Year to Player of the Year with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback?
I mean, that could happen.
That
could happen, but Rodgers loves his guys as well. Like, he loves spraying the ball to his guys. Here's the thing. Is Saquon healthy?
Yeah, he is, but
I mean, he'd have to have a hell of a year.
Okay, what was the Vikings record last year?
2022 Vikings season record. They had a 13-4 record.
Okay, so they had a huge record. That's the only thing that might go against Saquon, because they tagged him. They didn't give him his money, and when he doesn't get his money, he could be motivated to step it up another notch. Take it up another notch.
So if you look at, at the moment people are going towards Chase, Jefferson, or CMC. CMC
is a good shout as well. Has he not won it before?
Don't think he has.
Okay, so I think
he's got first team All Pro. That's it. Sorry.
Okay, I'll go see Mac, because I think with the 49ers, right? I think he has the potential to repeat what he did with the Carolina in 2019. And he'll be the first back in the NFL to go 1,000 twice.
All right, so you're saying CMC.
Yeah.
Well, who
And,
are
and,
you
I'm,
going to
and I'm
say?
predicting he's gonna go
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a wide. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a wide receiver, and it's gonna be Chase.
I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey, and he's gonna get 1,000.
And I'm a CMC believer as well. I am a CMC believer,
Yeah.
as big as there can be. Will, are you going to predict the three-peat?
I think Garrett's a really good one here, only because Aaron Rodgers can get him the ball consistently and accurately.
All right. So you're going to say Garrett's going to make that step from.
Part of me wants to say Devontae Smith, my guy, Devontae, but
we can't go
I
with a
doubt
homer
that.
pick there. Yeah.
I doubt that, so I'm gonna go with Garrett Wilson here.
All right. Defensive player of the year. As far as I'm concerned, it's TJ Watt. He's played 17 games this season. He is winning that. There is no contest in my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, if he plays the whole season. Yeah, no, I'm okay with that choice.
That's for me. That's my personal choice. That's my personal choice.
If he plays the whole season,
the odds-on favorite is Micah Parsons. Again.
Okay, so like I said, there's two guys that I could potentially see winning Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm struggling to pick between them. Like I said earlier, I think I kind of predicted earlier, with the addition of Jalen Carter to the Philadelphia Eagles front seven.
So you're going to say Hassan Reddick
is about to ball. He had 16 sacks last year. I could see him threatening the record somewhat, because from the way you guys play him, he gets lots of 1-on-1s.
Yeah.
And with now, because if they don't block Jalen Carter, he it's not only like he's gonna get to the quarterback, he's gonna ruin the run game at the same time. So basically, you commit more guys to block inside. Reddick gets 1-on-1s, and he's gonna feast all day. Parsons also seems like a guy that's willing to take his game to another level, because I feel like he's gonna be more hungry this year. Because last year he was good, but he was a little bit disappointed with the way he performed. He didn't live up to that Defensive Player of the Year odds. But I'm gonna go outside the grain. I'll say Hassan Reddick.
All right, that is going outside the grain.
But
all right,
I just really don't rob him though. I hope they give it to him.
All right, Comeback Player of the Year. Have you seen the odds on Comeback Player of the Year? Apparently, there's only one person who's going to get it as long as he stays alive.
Yep. What's his name again?
Damar Hamlin is going to win that. He is winning that. We know this. The odds are minus 285, and everyone else is like 2-1 beyond it. It's like ridiculous.
Russell Wilson.
But the odds are so far on these guys. You've seen it.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, the minute Damar Hamlin plays football this season, he wins it, because from what he's had to overcome.
I mean, he did some preseason snaps. He did some preseason snaps, but it's not the same.
Right, Coach of the Year?
Have to wait and see how it goes. Sean Payton.
Well, you can't. We're putting our necks on the line here. You're going to say Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
Okay. If he's going to be Coach of the Year, then the Broncos has to finish second in division. They can't finish less than that.
Okay. The only other person I could think of is Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell's odds on favourite at the moment.
Yeah. Actually, thinking about it, I'm going Dan Campbell.
You can see the natural growth for Detroit.
And he's gonna be Coach of the Year.
I'm gonna go with a surprising one, Dougie P. Because I said they're gonna win the division, and I think they're gonna win it handsomely as well. So, Dougie P.
All right.
And MVP.
Did Pat win last year?
Mm-hmm.
He's just stacking those accolades, man.
Okay,
is he
MVP.
Gonna win it? Is Burrow gonna win it? Is Allen gonna win it?
Ooh, Lamar.
Okay. How many does Rodgers have?
3.
4.
4.
I think he has 4. Let me check.
We know that's what he cares about now.
Well, at this point, that's his Super Bowl. Like,
MVPs,
I mean, he ain't catching Brady, so
yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
I
because
want
he calls
an
himself
MVP.
4 times because he calls himself the 2-time COVID MVP as the joke.
the 2 times what COVID MVP.
COVID
Yeah.
MVP. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say Aaron Rodgers wins his final MVP this season, but apparently just to win the AFC East to like a 12-5 record,
All right.
and match Peyton Manning on the number of MVPs won, and that would be sort of like his NFL mark to share that with Peyton.
Lamar Jackson.
Joe Burrow.
I think a healthy Lamar, a hungry Lamar.
Like the easy
And
one is to say
weapons
Mahomes, right?
there.
It's easy to
Yeah,
say Mahomes. I'm going to say
yeah.
the
Joe
easy
Burrow.
one is Mahomes, but I think Lamar's
Joe
going to put on
Burrow.
a show this year, throwing the football as well with the weapons that he's got now. It's a retooled offense. If he can stay healthy, he's always going to be in that race.
And Rodgers going to give one last shout out to the old guards as they bar up the game for this new generation.
All right. So there we have it. Season preview. A little bit of week 1.
Last one, Super Bowl matchup.
Super Bowl matchup. That is what we haven't.
Yeah, what do you think that is?
All right. It's going to be the Bengals. We're getting back to it. Against the Eagles. I'm saying the Eagles are just going back because they've just got the most well-rounded team. Nobody in the NFC, pretty much. The NFC is quite weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion.
It would take us losing personnel for us to really drop off.
Yeah.
So we'd have to be like
Decimated by
season-ending injury across various positions. That's the only way I can see us struggling.
So,
but the way our offense is, it's designed to just be like power run.
I mean, it's almost like at this point, looking at the NFC, the Eagles are like the de facto Super Bowl choice by default. Because there's no roster on the NFC that I can see that can beat the Eagles in the playoffs right now.
And the 49ers have been proven that the way they can be beaten is by just taking their quarterback off the field.
Yeah, which is the only issue with Purdy.
Actually, here's my Super Bowl pick. I'm going to go with Bills 49ers because this is the year that
Josh Allen finally sorts it out.
Allen.
So you're going to say that the Jets are going to win the division, but the Bills are going to make Super Bowl?
Yes, because Aaron Rodgers normally don't play well in the playoffs. He can't stand it up. So,
yep. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. All right. Well, did you have your prediction? You said
give your pick, Will.
Are you going to say that you're going to get back to the dance again? Or you just don't want to jinx it?
Yeah, I think we can get back to the dance. But it's very hard because teams know what to expect. They know what they're looking for. But the formula on beating us is still not necessarily out there. You know, the Super Bowl where we did lose was a close one. Yeah, I'm going to go with Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking,
who from this stacked AFC is going to make it?
The easy answer is
the Ravens Eagles
that's
make an
easy
intriguing game though. If you guys play the Ravens.
Cincinnati.
What about Baltimore? If Lamar Jackson win MVP, don't you think?
Yeah, no, Baltimore is one of those teams. Like, to be honest, I want Lamar to win one in his whole career. Just not against my Eagles, but I want him to win a Super Bowl. I want him to get at least one Super Bowl.
Okay.
And bring it back. So I'm gonna go with Eagles, Ravens.
All right. There we have it. So there is our predictions, our little bit of analysis on week 1 and our overview of what we think the season will be. If you've liked the video, please do not hesitate and press subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening to us on one of the other platforms, please head over to YouTube and give us a follow there, because we are pushing out as much content on that platform as possible. And until then, we'll catch everybody next week, and enjoy your first week of the NFL. The NFL is most firmly back. Goodbye from myself, goodbye from Peter, and
Over and
goodbye
out.
from Will, and we'll catch everybody on the flip side in week 2.